Chapter 419. Retreat. Swish. At the edge of the square, Emo Xing saw Ning Yu kick the first prince. He immediately dashed out and caught the first prince just as he was about to hit the ground. "First prince, are you all right?" After catching the first prince, Emo Xing hurriedly checked the first prince's injuries. After a while, Emo Xing let out a long sigh, thinking that it was a close call. Although there were many injuries on the first prince, most of them were superficial. There were almost no internal injuries. This meant that Ningyu knew his place and knew that he could not completely offend the first prince and the royal family. Even so, Emo Xing decided to teach Ningyu a lesson. At the very least, he had to let Ningyu know the dignity of the royal family. Therefore, Emo Xing put the first prince down and glanced at Dan Heezy, who was resting with his eyes closed. He then stomped on the ground and dashed towards Ningyu like a sharp sword. "Who is that? He's so fast." "That martial artist should be a powerhouse from the royal family, right? Based on my guess, he has to be at least in the Inyang realm. Otherwise, he can't be so fast." Inyang realm. The martial artist's words caused a commotion in the surroundings. Most of the martial artists in the surroundings were in the true martial realm. There were only a few primordial core realm martial artists. Therefore, they always kept a respectful distance from Inyang realm martial artists, afraid that they would displease the Inyang realm martial artist. If that martial artist is in the Inyang realm, doesn't that mean that Ningyu is in danger? Suddenly, a martial artist shouted, "That's right. No matter how powerful Ningyu is, he can't be a match for an Inyang realm martial artist. Sigh, what a pity. Under the attack of an Inyang realm martial artist, Ningyu is destined to die here. What a pity. A peerless genius is about to fall here. Look." Before the last martial artist finished a sentence, his mouth opened slightly and he raised his right hand to point into the distance, as if he had seen something terrifying. Everyone looked in the direction of the martial artist's palm and saw that not far away, Ningyu had gathered all the primordial qi in his body on his wrist and collided with the Inyang realm martial artist's fist. Bang! When the two collided, Ningyu only felt a huge force coming from his palm and then into his body. Courting death. The sudden turn of events caused Dan Heezy's pupils to constrict. He quickly tore open a rift and appeared in front of Ningyu. However, Emo Xing immediately retreated to the first prince's side. Then, Emo Xing grabbed the eldest prince and flew out of Wutua City. "Dan Heezy, I'll remember this. I'll settle the score with you sooner or later." After saying this, Emo Xing and the first prince's figures disappeared from everyone's sight. "Ningyu, are you all right?" "I'll keep it for the time being. Once you return to Danwu College, I'll naturally hand it over to you." Swoosh! With that, Dan Heezy disappeared from the area without looking back. Ningyu, that expert just now, was from Danwu College? After Dan Heezy left, Feng Zi let out a long sigh and asked, "If I'm not wrong, his cultivation should be at the late stage Inyang realm, right?" "You're right. His cultivation is indeed at the late stage Inyang realm." Ningyu rolled his eyes at Feng Zi and said, "There's still a competition in the arena. Why don't you go up and spar with Li Minggang and the other big brothers?" "How could I?" Feng Zi smiled at Ningyu and said. However, Feng Zi's actions betrayed him. He leaped up and directly jumped into the arena. Raising his right hand, Feng Zi raised his middle finger at the black-robed cultivator beside Li Minggang and said, "Peerless geniuses of the Lanqing nation, this arena was set up by you guys. Why aren't there any of you up there? Are you guys afraid?" "Humph. Who says we're afraid?" Li Minggang hadn't dared to behave atrociously in Dan Heezy's presence earlier. Now that Dan Heezy had left, he naturally became arrogant. "Just you wait, I'll go up now. Second brother, leave this to me." At that moment, the black-robed cultivator placed a hand on Li Minggang's shoulder and slowly walked toward the arena. The black-robed cultivator walked very slowly. It took him 5 minutes to walk such a short distance to the edge of the arena. Whoosh! Chapter 420. Young martial artist. Humph. Acting tough in front of me. Looking at the black-robed martial artist, Feng Zi snorted. Feng Zi, don't kill nameless people. State your name. Shui Wu Tian. The black-robed martial artist wasn't angry at Feng Zi's reprimand and said indifferently, Shui Wu Tian? What name? Take this. Hearing this, Feng Zi's brows twitched. He immediately rose from the ground and charged at Shui Wu Tian. Insignificant skill. Shui Wu Tian didn't care about Feng Zi, who was closing in on him. He waved his sleeve and a cold light shot out. The cold light was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of Feng Zi and was aimed at his chest. Not good. At the critical moment, Feng Zi pushed his speed to the limit and hastily dodged to the side. Crack! Feng Zi dodged the cold light attack, but the stone platform under his feet suffered. The cold light hit the stone platform and caused it to explode. Broken rocks filled the sky. Now this is fun! The corner of Feng Zi's mouth curled up. He rushed out again and fought with Shui Wu Tian. This time, Feng Zi and Shui Wu Tian were evenly matched. Both sides were evenly matched. This was obviously out of everyone's expectations. Feng Zi's strength is similar to the Crown Prince's, and Shui Wu Tian is evenly matched with Feng Zi. Doesn't that mean that Shui Wu Tian's strength is comparable to the Crown Prince's? Shui Wu Tian shouldn't be the top genius in the Lanqing Kingdom, right? It's hard to say. Maybe Shui Wu Tian is a peerless genius in the Lanqing Kingdom. The reason he came to Wu Ta City to set up the arena was to break the confidence of the Xia Kingdom's geniuses. At the beginning, when they saw Ningyu easily defeat Lu Lizzie and Li Minggang, everyone thought that Shui Wu Tian wouldn't be that strong. Who would have thought that Shui Wu Tian would leave a deep impression on them? Feng Zi isn't Shui Wu Tian's opponent. He will be defeated after 30 moves at most. Staring at the battle between Feng Zi and Shui Wu Tian, Ningyu frowned. Ningyu, aren't they evenly matched? How did you know that Shui Wu Tian would win? Si Kongling asked, puzzled. Just now, Feng Zi has already fought with the first prince and has expended a lot of his energy. In addition, Feng Zi is unwilling to use his trump card. His defeat is only a matter of time, Ningyu said calmly. Humph. At least you have some self-awareness. Due to being defeated by Ningyu, Li Minggang had always held a grudge against Ningyu. Now that he heard Ningyu's words, he coldly snorted and said, If Feng Zi doesn't admit defeat, he will definitely be killed by Big Brother. Li Minggang, are you so sure that Feng Zi will lose? Hearing Li Minggang's words, Ningyu was slightly startled, then immediately said, What if I say that the one who lost was Shui Wu Tian? This is impossible. How could my big brother be defeated? Li Minggang shouted. If you don't believe me, let's make a bet, said Ningyu with a smile. If you want to bet, then let's bet. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Li Minggang said coldly, Bet what? Very simple, just, frowning slightly, Ningyu thought for a moment, then said, Let's bet our lives. Whoosh! As soon as Ningyu's words fell, the surrounding martial artists all shifted their gazes from the arena to Ningyu, their faces filled with disbelief. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that as time went on, Feng Zi, who was on the arena, was already showing signs of weakness. Why would Ningyu still bet on Feng Zi's victory? Could it be that Feng Zi was pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? Li Minggang was obviously frightened by Ningyu's imposing manner. He took 2 steps back and said coldly, What are you afraid? Ningyu shrugged and immediately changed the topic. If you don't dare to bet, then get lost. Don't interrupt when I speak in the future. That's right. If you don't dare to bet, then get lost. Wu Ta City doesn't welcome you. And you call yourself the peerless genius of the Lanqing Kingdom. You don't even dare to accept a bet. Aren't you ashamed? Go back to the Lanqing Kingdom. Our Xia Kingdom doesn't welcome you. The surrounding martial artists' mocking words made Li Minggong's face darken. Although he was very confident in Shui Wu Tian, he was still a little afraid of betting with his own life. What if Shui Wu Tian lost? Haha, isn't it just a bet? How about I bet with you? Suddenly, a faint laugh sounded from afar. Then a young martial artist holding a folding fan slowly walked over from the entrance of the square. Not long after, the young martial artist stood in front of Ningyu. Looking Ningyu up and down, the young martial artist fanned himself and said with a smile, "You are Ningyu? A core disciple of the Sacred Institute of Danwu College?" While the young martial artist was sizing him up, Ningyu was also sizing him up. Middle stage primal core cultivation. Early stage, 5th grade soul strength. Ningyu was slightly shocked because he found that the young martial artist was not much older than him. Not only had his cultivation reached the mid-stage primal core, but even his soul strength had reached the early stage 5th grade. To be able to reach this level of cultivation and soul strength at this age, it was either because he was talented or because he had a lot of resources. Haha. Seeing that Ningyu was ignoring him, the young martial artist's eyes turned cold, and he quickly formed a seal with his hand. Kaboom! At this moment, a palm print sprang out of the void, directly attacking Ningyu. Ha! Feeling the huge pressure of the soul strength, Ningyu raised his eyebrows, but he still stood in the same place, not moving an inch. As expected of a core disciple of the Sacred Institute of Danwu College, such courage is rare. Ningyu's action made the young martial artist slightly stunned, but that was all. He did not hold back, but instead he blasted out another palm print. Swoosh! 2 consecutive palm prints, one from the front and one from the back, quickly blasted towards Ningyu. The first is a soul-attacking palm print, and the second is an ordinary primal chi palm print. Almost instantly, Ningyu determined the difference between the 2 palm prints. One was a soul-attacking palm print, and the other was a primal chi palm print. Relatively speaking, the soul-attacking palm print was more harmful to him. Therefore, Ningyu used a bit of his soul strength, wrapped it around his palm, and immediately blasted out a palm. Dark, dominating palm. As Ningyu growled, a palm print that also contained the pressure of the soul struck out, colliding with the young martial artist's palm print. Whoosh! The moment the 2 palm prints collided, the young martial artist's palm print was dispersed. Immediately after, the dark, dominating palm struck out at the young martial artist's second palm print. The result was no surprise. Ningyu's palm print completely dispersed the young martial artist's 2 palm prints. Ningyu, you also know that unique attacking palm technique. The young cultivator's heart skipped a beat as he said to Ningyu after the 2 palm imprints scattered. Aren't you being too nosy? Only you are allowed to cultivate it, but others can't? Ningyu said lightly. I didn't say you can't cultivate it. The young martial artist's eyes revealed a trace of coldness, but he quickly hid it. Chapter 421. Not interested, not interested. Ningyu did not give the young martial artist any face and directly refused. Ningyu, I gave you face, but you don't want it? To tell you the truth, this is one of the 4 emperors of the Blue Qing Kingdom. Before the young martial artist could speak, Li Minggong, who was next to him, said angrily, Pa. However, before Li Minggong could finish a sentence, the young martial artist's body flashed and appeared beside him in the blink of an eye. Slapping Li Minggong's face, the young martial artist said coldly, Is there any place for you to interrupt our conversation? Quickly apologized to Ningyu. The burning sensation on his face caused a wisp of hatred to flash in the corners of Li Minggong's eyes. However, he still tactfully turned his head and said to Ningyu, I'm very sorry, I'm shameless, please forgive me. What's going on? Who is that young martial artist? Why is Li Minggong so respectful towards him? I'm not too sure about the specifics, but from Li Minggong's words, I can deduce that the young martial artist should be someone from the royal family of the Blue Qing country. Isn't it obvious? The fourth prince must be the fourth prince. The fourth prince? No wonder Li Mingang is so respectful to him. The contrast between Li Minggang's actions before and after made the surrounding martial artists start to suspect the young martial artist's identity. Based on their guesses, the crowd agreed that the young martial artist was a member of the royal family of the Blue Qing nation, and that he was most likely the fourth prince. The fourth prince of the blue-green country was extremely famous. Not only was his cultivation profound, but his soul force was also very powerful. It was rumored that a year ago he was already a peak fourth-grade alchemist. Now, it was very likely that he had advanced to fifth-grade alchemist. Such a young fifth-grade alchemist was comparable to the geniuses of the Sacred Institute of Danwu College. Don't waste your breath. Tell me, what is your purpose? Ning Yu had never taken Li Mingang seriously, whether it was in the past or now. Therefore, Ning Yu did not take the hatred in Li Minggang's eyes to heart. Ning, you could kill someone like Li Mingang with a flip of his hand. Let me introduce myself first. I am from the royal family of the Lanqing nation. The young martial artist laughed and said, I came to Wu Tua City, this time with the intention to spar with the great Xia Kingdom's first prince. Who would have thought that he had already left? I have no choice but to spar with you. I hope you won't disappoint me. You are destined to be disappointed. I am not interested. Ning Yu said indifferently. He then shifted his gaze back to the arena. On the stage, Feng Zi gradually lost his stamina and was at a disadvantage. According to this trend, it wouldn't be long before Feng Zi would be defeated. Ning Yu, if you want to spar with me, I can make Xue Wu Tian stop. The corner of the fourth prince's mouth curled up as if he had found Ning Yu's weak spot. Are you so sure that Feng Zi will fail? Ning Yu was slightly stunned when he heard the fourth prince's words. He then said, What if I say that Feng Zi will win? That is impossible. The fourth prince shook his head and said. Suddenly, the fourth prince seemed to have thought of something and continued, Ning Yu, why don't we make a bet? What kind of bet? Ning Yu said calmly. Very simple. If Feng Zi wins, I will let you go. If Xue Wu Tian wins, you must spar with me. The fourth prince said, Let me go. Ning Yu first pointed at his own nose and then changed the topic. He sneered and said, Who do you think you are? You dare to say that you will let me go. You make it sound like you are very powerful. You are just an intermediate Yuan Dan warrior. How dare you come to Wu Tua City and behave so atrociously? Ning Yu was very displeased with the fourth prince's words. It was as if he was giving him charity. Let him go? The ignorant are truly fearless. You, being mocked by Ning Yu in front of so many people, the fourth prince was so angry that his whole body was trembling. He could not wait to teach Ning Yu a lesson. In his opinion, although Ning Yu also knew how to attack the soul, if he used his trump card, he could easily defeat Ning Yu. The reason he had been at a disadvantage in the exchange just now was because he had been careless. Taking a deep breath, the fourth prince said in a low voice, just a sharp tongue, What kind of hero is that? I have never said that I am a hero, Ning Yu said. Humph, you. With a cold snort, the fourth prince was about to say something, but his eyes turned and he shifted his gaze directly to the arena. Seeing that Xue Wu Tian was steadily gaining the upper hand, the fourth prince said loudly, Xue Wu Tian, attack his lower body. He is an early Yuan Dan warrior. His lower body is not very stable. Bang! In the arena, when Xue Wu Tian heard the fourth prince's words, he hurriedly gathered Yuan Qi on his ankles and kicked out with both legs. Each kick aimed at Feng Zi's lower body. Feng Zi's lower body was indeed a little unstable, just as the fourth prince had said. Under Xue Wu Tian's strong attacks, he gradually could not hold on any longer. Finally, with a bang, his knee was kicked and he could not help but kneel on the ground. Damn! Isn't this too shameless? Yes, they are fighting well. Why is the fourth prince interfering? He is challenging Ningyu and forcing Ningyu to spar with him. What is this? If he wants to force Ningyu to spar with him, then go find Ningyu. Why is he interfering with the battle between Feng Zi and Xue Wu Tian? The many warriors below the arena strongly condemned the fourth prince's actions. They did not expect such a shameless person to exist. Swoosh! However, their condemnation did not seem to have any effect. In the arena, Xue Wu Tian's lips curled up into a smile. His body turned into a shadow as he charged straight at Feng Zi. Damn it! Looking at the approaching Xue Wu Tian, Feng Zi cursed inwardly. He immediately wrapped Yuan Qi around his wrist and suddenly pushed it out. Feng Zi, take Xue Wu Tian's attack head-on. Just as Xue Wu Tian was about to reach Feng Zi, Ningyu's voice quietly rang in Feng Zi's ears. Gather all the Yuan Qi in your body on your middle finger and attack Xue Wu Tian's abdomen when he is unprepared. Ningyu's words that sounded out beside his ear caused Feng Zi to be slightly startled. Bang! While Feng Zi was in a daze, Xue Wu Tian's fist landed on his chest. The huge force from his chest caused Feng Zi's face to contort. Swoosh! However, after a brief moment of contortion, Feng Zi's right hand suddenly shot out and his index finger fiercely stabbed at Xue Wu Tian's lower abdomen. Ah! In the next moment, a hysterical scream rang out in the area, like a pig being slaughtered. It was earth-shattering and earth-shattering. After his successful attack, Feng Zi immediately shot out. He endured the pain from his chest and once again punched Xue Wu Tian's abdomen with violent Yuan Qi. Bang! Feng Zi's attack was powerful and heavy, as if he had used all his strength. It directly blasted Xue Wu Tian off the arena, and he fell at the fourth prince's feet. Uft! A mouthful of dark red blood sprayed on the fourth prince's feet. Xue Wu Tian's aura was weak, and he fell to the ground like a deflated balloon. Crack, crack, crack. Chapter 422. Swelling. So what if I'm crippled? What's the big deal? Shrugging his shoulders, Feng Zi dragged his heavy footsteps down the arena. The fourth prince of the Lanqing nation was so logical. Xue Wu Tian was allowed to attack him, but he was not allowed to cripple Xue Wu Tian's cultivation? What a joke! Ha ha ha! I'm dying of laughter. After all this, it turns out that Feng Zi was pretending to be weak. That's right. I was worried about his safety at first, but it seems like I was overthinking it. Feng Zi is still a little stronger. Before he fought with Xue Wu Tian, he had already fought with the eldest prince. To be able to defeat Xue Wu Tian, I have to say that he is indeed very strong. Look at the fourth prince's face. What's the difference between him and a pig's liver? Ha ha ha! The crowd followed the last warrior's words and looked at the fourth prince of the Lanqing nation. When they saw the fourth prince's face, which was as red as a pig's liver, everyone burst out laughing again. You're asking for it. The words of the surrounding martial art practitioners caused the fourth prince to be on the verge of exploding with rage. When he was in the Lanqing nation, when had he ever been mocked like this? An aunt could tolerate this, but an uncle could not. In the next instant, he cursed under his breath. His body immediately shot out and headed straight for Feng Zi. Feng Zi had crippled Xue Wu Tian's cultivation. He had to get back at him. Otherwise, how could he stand up in the Lanqing nation? Oh no! Feng Zi did not expect the fourth prince to be so arrogant. He was flustered that he dared to attack him in front of so many warriors. After experiencing 2 life and death battles, Feng Zi had expended too much energy. In his current state, even if he used his trump card, he might not be able to block the fourth prince's powerful attack. At the critical moment, Feng Zi quickly retreated, hoping to avoid the fourth prince's fatal attack. However, The fourth prince had obviously used all his strength. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Feng Zi. He raised his right hand and slammed it towards Feng Zi's head. The fourth prince's attack was powerful and heavy, and it contained an extremely violent fluctuation of yuan qi. One-hit kill. There was only one thought in the fourth prince's mind, and that was to kill in one hit. Humph! How dare you behave so atrociously in the great Xia kingdom? Just as the fourth prince's fist was about to strike Feng Fengzi's head, Ningyu, who was not far away, snorted coldly and slashed out with the broken soul sword in his hand. Voila! In an instant, a huge wave of sword ripples was formed, blasting towards the fourth prince. I'm going to kill Feng Zi no matter what today. Sensing the powerful sword ripple above his head, the fourth prince clenched his teeth. Even if he had to face Ningyu's sword ripple head-on, he had to kill Feng Zi. Damn it! Soul suppression. The fourth prince's crazy actions caused Ningyu's face to completely darken. Wasn't this too ruthless? In order to kill Feng Zi, he did not hesitate to take one of his sword waves head-on. However, Ningyu would never allow Feng Zi to be harmed. The soul power at the peak of the 5th grade poured out and appeared in front of the fourth prince in the blink of an eye. Then it pressed down fiercely. Not good, it's soul suppression. The strength of the fourth prince's soul power had also reached the early stage of grade 5. Naturally, he knew that Ningyu had used soul suppression on him. Swoosh! After knowing that Ningyu had used soul suppression, the fourth prince immediately gave up on attacking Feng Zi and retreated. Any martial artist who could use soul suppression, even if it was only the first stage of soul suppression, was not something he could withstand. Moreover, he could feel that the strength of Ningyu's soul power was far stronger than his. Peak of the 5th grade. The strength of Ningyu's soul power had reached the peak of the 5th grade. Uft! Even though the fourth prince reacted in time, he was still affected by Ningyu's soul suppression. A fishy taste came from his throat, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood. His breathing was slightly weak. Ningyu, I admit that I've underestimated you. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, the fourth prince leaped into the arena. Pointing his palm at Ningyu, the fourth prince said coldly, Now, I'm officially issuing a challenge to you. Do you dare to accept? Has the fourth prince of the Lanqing kingdom lost his mind? Why must he fight with Ningyu? He must have lost his mind. With his strength, how could he be a match for Ningyu? In my opinion, Ningyu will defeat the fourth prince of the Lanqing kingdom in 3 moves at most. 3 moves? Let me guess. 1 move is not possible. Why don't we make a bet? Let's bet. Who's afraid of who? The martial artists below the arena started a bet on how many moves the fourth prince would take to defeat Ningyu. This kind of behavior obviously did not take the fourth prince seriously. The fourth prince of the Lanqing kingdom, Ningyu, did not answer the fourth prince immediately. Instead, he pondered for a moment and asked, If you want to challenge me, give me a reason why I must accept it. Humph. If you're afraid, you can choose not to accept it. I won't force you. The fourth prince snorted coldly. Idiot. After saying this, Ningyu gave Xigongling and the others a look and walked straight out of the square. Ning, you did not have time to waste here. The injury on Xigongling's left hand could not be delayed for long. He had to change his hand as soon as possible, or else the consequences would be unimaginable. As for the hand that he wanted to change Xigongling's hand, Ningyu had already prepared it. It was the hand that he had obtained from Su Xingyan. If Xigongling was given the hand of a manifestation realm martial artist, his strength would increase by at least a few times. Ningyu, you coward! You don't dare to fight with the fourth prince. Seeing that Ningyu was about to leave, Li Minggang, who was next to him, shouted before the fourth prince could say anything. Little bastard, you better hope that we don't run into you again. Otherwise, we'll beat you up until you look for your teeth on the ground. Swoosh! Before Li Minggang could finish his sentence, Ning Yu's eyes turned cold and appeared in front of him in the blink of an eye. Pa 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 pa, his left and right hands moved at the same time. Ning Yu's palms repeatedly slapped Li Minggang's cheeks. In a short while, Li Minggang's cheeks were swollen. Woo woo, woo woo woo, woo woo. As he watched Ning Yu retreat to the other side, Li Minggang opened his mouth to speak, but his mouth was filled with whimpering sounds. His cheeks were swollen, causing him to be unable to make a normal sound. Fourth Prince, you better control your dog. If he continues to have such a cheap mouth, it won't be as simple as just slapping him. Ning Yu glanced at the fourth prince on the stage and said in an indifferent tone, "It's just a dog. If it's killed, then so be it. I don't care at all." The fourth prince shrugged his shoulders, evidently not taking Li Minggang's life to heart. "I don't care, we'll never meet again." As he spoke, Ning Yu walked towards the exit of the square. Swish! However, Ning Yu had only taken a few steps when a figure dashed towards him from the entrance of the square. Looking at the figure flying towards him, Ning Yu's face lit up. This was because this figure was none other than Hong Mo, who had called to buy medicinal herbs. As long as Hong Mo returned, he could start refining the antidote for the heart-devouring pill. Suddenly, Ning Yu frowned slightly, vaguely feeling that something was wrong. Chapter 4:23. Playing tricks on the fourth Prince Xiao. Hong Mo's speed was very fast, and it didn't take long for him to arrive in front of Ning Yu. "What's going on?" Seeing Hong Mo's anxious expression, Ning Yu asked in a deep voice, "When I was buying medicinal ingredients just now, I found a few suspicious people." Seeing Ning Yu, the anxiety on Hong Mo's face eased a little, and he said in a low voice, "Their cultivation is at the yin-yang stage, and there is even a middle-stage yin-yang stage cultivator." Ning Yu's heart trembled, and he calmly asked, "Do you know their identities?" "Corpse sect," Hong Mo said. "Where did they go?" Ning Yu asked again. "If I'm not wrong, they should have left Wu Ta City." Hong Mo deliberately lowered his voice and whispered in Ning Yu's ear, "It is very likely that they went to investigate the matter of the 4 sub-palace masters of the corpse sect. So, they should know that the 4 sub-palace masters of the corpse sect were killed by us." Ning Yu frowned and muttered to himself. He had been fighting in this arena for a long time. If the experts of the corpse sect knew that he killed the 4 sub-palace masters, they would definitely come here to capture him. Since the experts of the corpse sect had left Wu Ta City, it meant that they still didn't know who killed the 4 sub-palace masters. Could it be that the alchemist temple lord changed his statement? Or did the alchemist temple lord not send the news back to the corpse sect? Ning Yu fell into contemplation. In his view, there were only these 2 possibilities. Ning Yu, the alchemist temple lord, has changed his statement. He said that it was the imperial family who killed the 4 sub-palace masters. Just when Ning Yu was puzzled, Sun Jiangwen's voice sounded in his mind. Hearing this, Ning Yu was startled at first, but then his face lit up with joy. Since the alchemist temple lord changed his statement, then it was more reasonable for Hong Mo to see the experts of the corpse sect leave Wu Ta City. By the way, what did the alchemist hallmaster say? Ning Yu transmitted his voice to Sun Jiangwen. It's very simple. He told the upper echelons of the corpse insect that the crown prince of the Great Xia Kingdom was among the cultivators that killed them. Sun Jiangwen didn't dare to be negligent and hurriedly said, "According to my estimation, all the corpse sect cultivators around Wu Ta City must have gone to chase after the crown prince." F***CK. Sun Jiangwen, well done. Even though Ning Yu was forcefully suppressing the joy in his heart, he could not help but praise Sun Jiangwen, diverting the trouble to someone else. And this method of diverting the trouble to someone else was too ruthless. The first prince was probably running for his life right now. Sun Jiangwen's voice once again echoed in Ningyu's mind. Ningyu, since the experts of the corpse sect have left Wu-Ta City, why don't we go to the alchemist's hall? There should be a lot of magic treasures and pills there. We have to go, but not now. After thinking about it, Ningyu said, let's find a place to recuperate for a while. I have something to do. Sikong Ling's left hand couldn't hold on for too long, so Ningyu had to change hands for him. Also, after a while, the heart-devouring pill in Lu Wei's body would take effect, so it was time to refine the antidote. Ningyu, are you really not going to fight me? On the stage, seeing that Ningyu was about to leave, the fourth prince of the Lanqing kingdom sneered. A core disciple of the Sacred Institute of Danwu College doesn't dare to accept my challenge? Aren't you afraid of being laughed at? Before Ningyu could speak, Hong Mo, who was next to him, asked in confusion, who is that cultivator on the stage? The fourth prince of the Lanqing kingdom. He has been clamoring to fight with Ningyu. Feng Zi muttered. If it weren't for the fact that Feng Zi had consumed too much energy, he would have gone on stage to teach the fourth prince a lesson. Over and over again, it was as if the whole world owed him something. It's just the fourth prince of the Lanqing kingdom. Leave it to me. Hong Mo waved his hand at Ningyu, and his figure flashed as he jumped onto the stage. Who is this cultivator in red? I'm not sure, but he should have a good relationship with Ningyu. Is he a match for the fourth prince of the Lanqing kingdom? It's hard to say. Since he has the courage to go on stage, he must have some skills. As soon as Hong Mo went on stage, it caused a stir at the scene. After all, they didn't know how powerful Hong Mo was, so they felt that he was a little unreliable. Who are you? I don't fight with nameless people. Looking at Hong Mo, the fourth prince said in a deep voice, you don't need to know my name, because I will let you know the consequences of being arrogant. Hong Mo smiled and said, you overestimate yourself. Hearing Hong Mo's words, the fourth prince snorted coldly and immediately rushed out. Once he attacked, it was a killing move. The fourth prince wanted to teach Hong Mo a lesson, to let him know the consequences of being arrogant. Hong Mo obviously didn't plan to take the fourth prince's killing move head-on. Instead, he moved left and right on the stage, constantly dodging. Damn it, do you only know how to dodge? After failing to hit Hong Mo several times in a row, the fourth prince said angrily. The fourth prince of the Blue Qing kingdom was very angry. Whenever he was about to hit Hong Mo would always be able to dodge. In terms of speed, he was much slower than Hong Mo. After a few rounds, he couldn't even touch the corner of Hong Mo's clothes. The cultivator in red is no match for the fourth prince of the Lanqing kingdom? I don't know. They haven't fought face to face, so I can't tell. In my opinion, the cultivator in red is just toying with the fourth prince. Suddenly, a sharp-eyed cultivator said, What do you mean? The cultivator next to him asked. The speed of the martial artist in red is enough to leave the fourth prince of the Lanqing nation behind by a few streets. Think about it, with such a fast speed, can the fourth prince dodge the attack? The cultivator who spoke just now analyzed. According to my observation, the cultivator in red should be at the advanced stage of the primal core stage, while the fourth prince is only at the intermediate stage. If that's the case, it's possible. Like I said, Ningyu is so strong. His friend must not be weak. Look at the fourth prince's face. It's like he's eaten **T, swoosh. The crowd looked towards the stage and saw the fourth prince's chest heaving up and down, his expression extremely ugly. Ningyu, should we kill him? Just when everyone thought that Hong Mo would continue to tease the fourth prince of the Lanqing kingdom, he suddenly stopped and said to Ningyu, who was below the stage, Whoosh! At this moment, all the cultivators looked at Ningyu, wanting to see what decision Ningyu would make. After a moment of silence, Ningyu said, After all, he is the fourth prince of the Lanqing kingdom, and he didn't kill any martial artist from the Xia kingdom. How about this? Just teach him a lesson. There's no need to kill him. Understood. The corner of Hong Mo's mouth curled up, and a red flying sword appeared in his hand. Chapter 4:24. Changing hands. Oh no! Seeing that the sword ray was about to hit him, the fourth prince's expression changed, and he tried to summon his flying sword. Whoosh! The fourth prince had obviously underestimated the speed of the sword ray. Before he could summon his flying sword, the sword ray had already left a mark on his cheek. Damn it! I'm going to. Touching the bloody mark on his cheek, the fourth prince's eyes widened and his face revealed a vicious expression. However, before he could finish a sentence, Hong Mo's figure flashed and appeared in front of him. Bang! This time, Hong Mo's attack was very simple and violent. He landed a punch on the fourth prince's chest. The huge force caused the fourth prince's body to fall back a few feet, and he was at the edge of the ring. Having succeeded in his attack, Hong Mo slowly walked towards the fourth prince, and not long after, he was beside the fourth prince. If you can't even beat me, how are you going to fight Ningyu? Hong Mo extended his palm and tapped the fourth prince's chest. He then lifted his right leg and kicked the fourth prince off the ring. Swoosh! Everything that had happened in the arena had happened too quickly. Before the surrounding cultivators could react, the fourth prince had already been defeated. Watching Hong Mo walk off the ring, the surrounding martial artists' mouths were slightly agape, and their faces were full of disbelief. They never thought that a genius as strong as the fourth prince of the Lanqing kingdom would be defeated by Hong Mo in a few moves. If that was the case, how powerful was Ningyu? Ningyu's strength is probably infinitely close to the pinnacle of the primal core stage. Almost. Hong Mo could easily defeat the fourth prince of the Lanqing kingdom. If Ningyu were to fight, he would only need one move at most, or maybe not even one, to defeat the fourth prince. No wonder he's a core disciple of the sacred college of Dongwu College. He's really strong. Of course, Dongwu College is the best college in the Xia Kingdom. Every student in the sacred college is 1 in a million. How can someone who isn't strong enter the sacred college? Hee, the fourth prince of the Blue-Green Nation has suffered a double loss. What a disgrace. Isn't that so? Including him, the 4 cultivators who came to challenge Wuta City were all defeated. The mocking words of the surrounding martial artists reached the ears of the fourth prince of the Blue-Green Nation, causing his face to turn ashen. He wanted nothing more than to find a piece of tofu and kill himself. Lu Lizzie, Li Minggang, and Xue Wu Tian were defeated one after another, and now, even he was defeated by Hong Mo. If news of this got back to Lanqing country, how would he be able to establish himself? Fourth prince, why don't we return to the kingdom of Lanqing first? Then we can discuss this further. Li Minggang hurriedly ran to the fourth prince's side and said hesitantly, "Also, Lu Lizzie's injury. Scram! Trash will always be trash. What's the point of me raising you?" Before Li Minggang could finish his sentence, the fourth prince berated, "Get ready, we're going to the capital." "Why are we going to the capital?" Li Minggang continued to ask. Bang! The fourth prince kicked Li Minggang's butt and said angrily, "I told you to go, so go. What's with the nonsense?" Yes, I'll go prepare now." Glancing at Lu Lizzie, who was not far away, Li Minggang secretly prayed to himself and hurriedly left the square. "Ningyu, I'll get my revenge sooner or later." Taking a deep breath, the fourth prince clenched his fists tightly and looked at Ningyu and the others who were gradually disappearing from his sight. The veins on his arms bulged as he said coldly, "Dongwu College, Sacred Institute, Court, Disciple, swoosh!" At the same time, Ningyu had already brought Xikongling and the others to an inn and chose a quiet room to stay in. "Ningyu, how confident are you in changing Xikongling's hand?" Feng Zi paced back and forth with a surprised expression on his face. When he heard that Ningyu was going to change Xikongling's hand, his mouth opened wide enough to fit a fist. He was extremely shocked. Changing hands was not a joke. The slightest carelessness would result in a backlash. If it was light, he would lose an arm. If it was heavy, he might die on the spot. 60%, Ningyu said in a low voice. The palm of the blessed realm was not an ordinary palm. Its blood and Sikongling's repelled each other. It had to suppress the blood in the palm in order to complete the fusion. Fengzi was right. The slightest carelessness would result in the danger of backlash. The reason why Su Xingyan could easily change hands was because he forced out a drop of his blood essence and dripped it on the blessed realm's palm every day. Su Xingyan had long gotten used to the blood in the blessed realm's palm. Otherwise, there was no need for Ningyu to make a move back then. Su Xingyan would have suffered a backlash. 60% is enough. I believe in Ningyu. At worst, I'll just lose an arm. I can still accept it. Sikong gritted his teeth. No problem. You guys go out first. I'm going to start changing Sikong hand. Ningyu waved his hand, motioning for Fengzi and the others to leave. I hope you can succeed. We will stand guard for you. No one will disturb you. With a light sigh, Fengzi, Xiaoyu, and the others left the room. They were not stupid. They knew that changing hands could not be disturbed. Otherwise, all their previous efforts would be in vain. So after leaving the room, Fengzi and Xiaoyu stood on both sides of the door, guarding the room like door gods. Hong Mo, give me the medicinal ingredients. You go out and stand guard for me too. Ning, you did not want to waste time. This was the perfect time to let Sun Jiangwen refine the antidote and expel the heart-devouring pill's effects from Lu Wei's body. Swoosh! Hong Mo casually threw the medicinal ingredients to Ningyu. Keep the Red Fiend sword with you. If you encounter any danger, you can still block it. Seeing that Hong Mo was about to throw the Red Fiend sword to him, Ningyu said, be careful. Hong Mo was not an indecisive person. He immediately kept the Red Fiend sword and rushed out of the room. After Hong Mo left, Ningyu threw the medicinal ingredients into the storage ring and said to Sun Jiangwen, Can I refine the antidote inside? No problem, as long as there are enough origin crystals, Sun Jiangwen said after pondering for a moment. The space in the storage ring was not small. The only thing lacking was the lack of origin qi. As long as there was enough origin qi, Sun Jiangwen had absolute confidence in refining the heart-devouring pill's antidote. Origin crystals are not a problem. You can use these. Ningyu moved his soul and controlled a small pile of origin crystals to fly to Sun Jiangwen's side. Don't worry. I will be able to refine a furnace of heart-devouring pill's antidote by evening at most. Sun Jiangwen promised as he looked at the origin crystals in front of him. Focus on refining the antidote. Don't look for me if there's nothing particularly important. After explaining everything to Sun Jiangwen, Ningyu took out the creation state palm that he had obtained from Su Xingyan. Hiss! Feeling the powerful pressure emanating from the palm, Sikongling could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. What kind of palm is this? How can it possess such powerful pressure? This pressure even caused Sikongling to be unable to breathe and his entire body to tremble. Ningyu, this is... Sikongling asked doubtfully as he resisted the pressure coming from the palm. This is the palm of a creation state martial artist. Don't worry. I have an 80% chance of changing it for you. Don't be nervous. Chapter 4:25. The antidote, Ningyu, I'm not nervous. What I mean is, what kind of palm is this? Sikongling pointed at the palm in Ningyu's hand and asked, Oh, you're talking about this. Waving the palm, Ningyu said, This is the palm of a manifestation realm martial artist. I obtained it by chance. Ning, you didn't tell Sikongling about the origin of this palm. After all, he didn't want Sikongling to know that he killed the genius of the corpse sex Ghost Talent Hall. No, this palm is too precious. I can't take it. After knowing that the palm belonged to a manifestation realm martial artist, Sikong Ling quickly shook his head and said, "You should keep the palm of a manifestation realm martial artist for yourself. It's too wasteful for me to use." Above the origin core realm was the Yin-Yang realm. The peak of the Yin-Yang realm had to overcome the manifestation realm tribulation before advancing to the manifestation realm. Manifestation realm martial artists were very rare. At least on the surface, there were only 2 manifestation realm martial artists in the Great Xia Kingdom. One was the ancestor of Dongwu College, and the other was the ancestor of the imperial family. Apart from these 2 manifestation realm martial artists, there might be other manifestation realm martial artists in the Great Xia Kingdom, but this was enough to show the rarity of manifestation realm martial artists. I asked you to use it, so just use it. What nonsense are you spouting? Ningyu was a little angry and scolded. It might be a little painful later. You better bear with it and don't scream. Otherwise, I'll beat you until all your teeth fall out. As he spoke, Ningyu released his powerful soul force and set up a soul force barrier in the room. Although there were Hong and Mo and the others guarding outside, Ningyu still didn't feel at ease. Swapping hands was different from other things. Once it was disturbed, all previous efforts would be wasted. Therefore, for safety's sake, Ningyu set up a soul force barrier to ensure that it wouldn't be disturbed. Get ready. I'm going to chop off your palm next. After doing all this, Ningyu flicked his wrist, and the soul-severing sword appeared in his hand. Go ahead, I can endure, hiss. Sikong Ling gratefully looked at Ningyu and said in a low voice. However, before Sikong Ling was ready, the soul-breaking sword in Ningyu's hand slashed down from the sky and directly chopped off his right hand. The intense pain from his wrist caused Sikong Ling to be slightly dazed. Seal off the blood on your right wrist. I'm going to reattach your blessed realm palm. At this moment, Ningyu's loud shout rang in Sikong Ling's ears. Sikong Ling shuddered and did not dare to be negligent. He hurriedly circulated his mental cultivation method and sealed off the blood on his right wrist. Ka-ka. In the next moment, Ningyu placed his blessed realm palm on Sikong Ling's right arm and separated a few wisps of soul force from his body to help Sikong Ling take over. Ningyu's movements were very slow. He carefully combed each and every one of his tendons, not daring to be careless. Tick-tock, tick-tock. With the elapse of time, the sweat on Ningyu's forehead increased, to the extent that it directly dripped onto the floor and let out dripping sounds. All of this did not affect Ningyu. Every step he took was done very slowly, striving to complete it in one go. While Ningyu was helping Sikong Ling switch hands, outside Wuta City, a few martial artists were walking towards Wuta City with faces full of rage. Damn it, we let him escape. One of the slightly plump martial artists had a face full of rage as he said, "If we had received the Hall Master's message earlier, we could have surrounded and killed the Great Xia Kingdom's crown prince at Wuta City immediately. We wouldn't have needed to wait for him to leave before chasing. You better speak less. If the Hall Master were to hear it, we might not be able to bear the consequences." Another martial artist hurriedly said, "Hurry up and go back." The martial artist with the highest cultivation said in a deep voice, "With the 4 branch hall masters being killed this time, we might have already been exposed. In my opinion, it's better to first contact the alchemy master hall master and then immediately shift." "That's right, shift quickly. Go." Swish. These few martial artists instantly sped up and flashed past Wuta City's entrance, vanishing from sight. Time flew by. In a blink of an eye, 2 hours had passed. Huff! Inside the room, Ningyu slowly withdrew his soul force from Sikong Ling's palm and let out a long breath. His taut nerves relaxed all at once. After 2 hours of busy work, he finally helped Sikong Ling reconnect the creation realm martial artist's palm. Although there were still some minor flaws, it did not hinder normal use. As long as Sikongling did not rashly use his right hand in the next 3 days, there would not be any major problems. Ningyu, I really have a creation realm martial artist's palm? Raising his right hand, Sikongling had a look of disbelief all over his face. He did not think that there would be a day when he could also possess a creation realm martial artist's palm. Remember, it's best not to use your right hand in the next 3 days. Otherwise, it's very likely that your qi and blood will flow in reverse, causing this palm to be crippled. Ningyu nodded and warned. No problem. Don't mention 3 days. Even if it's 10 days, I can still endure it. Sikongling said in pleasant surprise. In the future, there might be some rejection in the process of using it. But don't worry, this is all a normal reaction. It'll be fine after a period of time. Ningyu continued. Ningyu, the heart-devouring pill's antidote is refined. The first cauldron refined 3 antidotes. Suddenly, Sun Jiangwen's voice sounded in Ningyu's mind. Hearing that, Ningyu was first startled. Then his face revealed a look of joy. Originally, he thought that Sun Jiangwen would only be able to refine the heart-devouring pill's antidote in the evening. Who would have thought that only 2 hours had passed and Sun Jiangwen refined the antidote? Did you help Lu Wei take it? Ningyu's consciousness sunk into the storage ring and asked. Without your instructions, I dare not make the decision, Sun Jiangwen said. Sikongling, you go out first. I need to recuperate. Ningyu was not in a hurry to check the antidote. Instead, he said to Sikongling, let Hong Mo in. Feng Zi and Xiao, you don't need to guard outside the door. Let them go down and rest. I'll call them if there's anything. No problem. You rest well. Sikongling knew that Ningyu had expended quite a bit, so he directly left the room. Creak! Not long after, Hong Mo entered the room. Sun Jiangwen, you guys can come out. Seeing Hong Mo enter, Ningyu gave Hong Mo a look and immediately threw the storage ring into the air. Crash! In the next instant, 3 figures came out of the storage ring and landed in the room. And what's going on? Outside the room, Feng Zi's brows were tightly knitted, revealing a puzzled look. After Sikongling and Xiao Yu left, he did not leave immediately but stood outside the door, wanting to see what Ningyu was doing inside. Who would have thought that with a casual wave of Hong Mo's hand, his perception would be blocked, turning him into a blind man? Feng Zi, if you want to come in, you can come in and take a look. What's there to stay outside for? Ningyu's voice quietly sounded beside Feng Zi's ear, causing Feng Zi's mouth to gape slightly, feeling slightly awkward. Chapter 4:26. Chapter 4:26. Feng, Family Creek. Taking a deep breath, Feng Zi pushed open the door and walked in. Swoosh! Just entering the room, Feng Zi's mouth gaped slightly as if he had seen a ghost. Who are these 3 martial artists? Feng Zi rubbed his eyes and pointed at the 3 martial artists beside Ningyu, asking doubtfully. Feng Zi remembered very clearly that when he left the room, there was only Ningyu and Sikongling inside, and there were absolutely no other 3 martial artists. What was going on? Why did 3 martial artists suddenly appear? And who were they? A series of questions appeared in Feng Zi's mind, making him somewhat dumbfounded. Swoosh! Swoosh! Just as Feng Zi was in a daze, 2 figures flashed consecutively and landed steadily on either side of him. The Red Fiend, Sun Jiangwen. After getting Ningyu's approval, the Red Fiend and Sun Jiangwen surrounded Feng Zi. Ningyu, what's the meaning of this? Seeing the figures on both sides, Feng Zi's heart thumped. Speak, what's your real identity? Actually, the moment he agreed to let Feng Zi enter the room, Ningyu was already prepared to get to the bottom of it, which was to say, unless Feng Zi revealed his identity, he could forget about leaving here today. I'm a true blue Wu-Tua city citizen, an unemployed vagrant, Feng Zi said without batting an eyelid. Looks like you won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Ningyu said, wave-splitting palm is a high-grade heaven level martial technique. You're just an unemployed early primal core stage. How could you possibly obtain such a precious martial technique? Don't tell me you picked it up under some cliff. This, Ningyu's analysis, was clear and logical. Feng Zi felt very awkward. After thinking about it, Feng Zi gritted his teeth and said, to tell you the truth, I'm from the Feng family of Lanqing country. My real name is not Feng Zi, but Feng Xing. What? Feng Xing? Before Ningyu could say anything, Lu Wei, who was standing beside him, yelled out, you are the third young master of the Feng clan, Feng Xing. That's right, I am Feng Xing, but I am not the third young master of the Feng clan. I have already been expelled from the clan. Feng Zi said, right now, my name is Feng Zi, and I will be called Feng Zi in the future. Feng clan. Ningyu was puzzled. The status of the Feng clan in the Lanqing kingdom is equivalent to the status of Danwu College in the Great Xia Kingdom. Lu Wei explained, the Feng clan's influence is spread all over the Lanqing kingdom. They can even contend against the Lanqing royal family. What can prove your identity? Ning, you still did not trust Feng Zi. After all, what they were going to do next was very important. If Feng Zi leaked the news, the consequences would be unimaginable. I can't prove my identity. If you want to kill me or dismember me, do as you please. Feng Zi seemed to have given up and said indifferently, I originally wanted to give you a great fortune, but since you said so, I have no choice but to leave you here. Ningyu gave Hong Mo and Sun Jiangwen a meaningful glance, signaling them to take Feng Zi down. Wait. Seeing this, Feng Zi's mind trembled and his true nature was exposed. He quickly said, what great fortune. Can you tell me first? Haha, I knew you would be like this. With a faint smile, Ningyu said, are you interested in robbing? Fuck robbing. I am a gentleman. How could robbing? Feng Zi repeatedly shook his head, acting like an obedient child. Robbing the corpse sect, Ningyu said in a deep voice. However, after hearing Ningyu's words, Feng Zi's expression changed faster than flipping a book. He quickly said, are you really going to rob the corpse sect? Count me in. The reason I was expelled from the Feng clan is because of those corpse sect bastards. Tell me about it. Ningyu raised his eyebrows and calmly said, it's all in the past. Let's not talk about it. With a sigh, Feng Zi said, tell me, which corpse sect branch hall are you going to rob? Let's put the matter of robbing the corpse sect aside for now. Right now, I have something important to do. Waving his hand, Ningyu took out a jade bottle from his chest pocket. Inside the jade bottle were 3 pills, the antidote for the heart-devouring pill. Sun Jiangwen had refined a total of 3 antidotes for the heart-devouring pill. Ning, you didn't have time to check them earlier, so now was the right time to check the authenticity of these antidotes. Ning, you separated a bit of his soul force into the antidote. After a while, he withdrew his soul force. Lu Wei, there is no problem with the antidote. Take it first. Ningyu handed an antidote to Lu Wei and said, after taking the antidote, Lu Wei didn't hesitate and took it on the spot. After taking the antidote, Lu Wei stared at Ningyu and hesitantly asked, can you give me the remaining antidotes? No problem. If you need them, I'll ask Sun Jiangwen to refine a few more. Ningyu threw the remaining 2 antidotes to Lu Wei and casually said, Ningyu, I want to go back to the capital now. After accepting the 2 antidotes, Lu Wei bit her lips and whispered, I'm worried about you going back alone. Ning, you didn't even think about it and refused Lu Wei. With Lu Wei's current strength, if something happened to her on the road, he wouldn't even have tears to cry. I want to go back to Snow Pavilion. My father and mother are still trapped there, Lu Wei stubbornly said, not giving in at all. This is a bit troublesome. Ningyu thought about it and then said to Feng Zi, go call Xigongling and Xiao Yu over. I have something to ask them. Let me go call them. Looking left and right, Feng Zi pointed at his nose and said, If it's not you, who else can it be? Ningyu said, Hurry up, don't make me rush you. All right. Helpless, Feng Zi could only dejectedly leave the room. After a while, Feng Zi returned, followed by Xikongling and Xiaoyu. Xikongling, did anything big happen in Snow Pavilion recently? Seeing Xikongling and the others come in, Ningyu went straight to the point and asked. Xikongling was stunned but still replied, Nothing big happened. It's just that Snow Pavilion's deputy pavilion master has been missing for a long time, causing chaos in Snow Pavilion. That's right. A group of mysterious forces took advantage of the situation and firmly took control of Snow Pavilion. Next to him, Xiaoyu saw Lu Wei, and a look of surprise appeared on her face, but she quickly concealed it and continued. As for Snow Pavilion's current pavilion master and pavilion master's wife, that is, Lu Wei's father and mother, they are fine. Mysterious forces. Ningyu frowned slightly and asked, Do you know who it is? I'm not clear about the specifics, but I can conclude that the mysterious force is related to the imperial family. First shaking her head, Lu Wei then said with certainty, Before coming to Wuta City, I happened to see a martial artist leave Snow Pavilion and enter the imperial family. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said, Xiaoyu, Xikongling, you two take Lu Wei back to the capital first. Ningyu, you're not going back with us? Lu Wei hurriedly said, I still have some things to do in Wuta City. Once I'm done, I'll immediately rendezvous with you in the capital. Ningyu said in a deep voice, Xikongling, Xiaoyu, Lu Wei's safety is in your hands. Chapter 427. Chapter 427. Green Wolf Gang, Ningyu, wait for me. After a brief moment of confusion, Feng Zi chased after him. Immediately, Hong Mo, Sun Jiangwen, and the alchemist temple master also followed closely and left the room. After Ningyu and the others left the originally lively room, only Xikongling, Xiaoyu, and Lu Wei were left. The three of them looked at each other, obviously still in a daze. Swish. Sun Jiangwen, are you sure the Green Wolf Gang is the alchemist temple's lair in Wuta City? On the streets of Wuta City, several martial artists walked side by side. Among them, Ningyu frowned slightly puzzled. In Wuta City, there were three major underground forces: Green Wolf Gang, Death Arena, and Iron Tree Gate. Green Wolf Gang was the most powerful among these three underground forces. It was said that there were Yin-Yang realm martial artists in it. Green Wolf Gang is just a puppet cultivated by the Alchemist Temple. Their leader is at the intermediate Yin-Yang realm, so his position in the Alchemist Temple is not low. Sun Jiangwen affirmed. There should only be one or two Yin-Yang realm martial artists left in the Green Wolf Gang. Ningyu frowned. Hong Mo said that when he was buying medicinal ingredients, he met a few corpse sect martial artists, and one of them was at the intermediate Yin-Yang realm. At that time, those martial artists left Wuta City, so they shouldn't have returned yet. Right, how could I forget about him? Suddenly, Ningyu patted his head and said to the Alchemist Temple Master, Contact the Alchemist Temple's powerhouses in Wuta City and see where they are. Hearing Ningyu's words, the Alchemist Temple Master didn't dare to be negligent. He quickly separated a portion of his soul force and began to contact the corpse sect powerhouses in Wuta City. After being tortured by Sun Jiangwen for a long time, the Alchemist Temple Master finally understood that people had to lower their heads under the eaves. If he continued to be stubborn, it was very likely that he would suffer a second round of torture from Sun Jiangwen. Sun Jiangwen's torture methods were not for show. Dozens of vicious methods were used together, not to mention a late Yin-Yang realm martial artist. Even a peak Yin-Yang realm martial artist wouldn't be able to resist. Therefore, the Alchemist Temple Master obediently contacted the corpse sect powerhouses and didn't dare to be negligent. Big brother, there's news of the Hall Master. At the same time, in the headquarters of the Green Wolf Gang in Wuta City, an early-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist rushed into the hall and exclaimed in surprise. What did the Hall Master say? There were a total of 4 martial artists in the hall. 3 of them were at the initial Yin-Yang stage, and 1 was at the middle Yin-Yang stage. The middle stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist said in a deep voice, say it word by word. The Hall Master's exact words were, martial artists of Yin-Yang stage and above, wait for me at the entrance of the Green Wolf Gang. I'll be there immediately. The martial artist of Yin-Yang stage repeated the words of the Hall Master of Alchemy. Big brother, the Iron Tree sect is attacking the Green Wolf Gang outside. Do you think we should finish them off first? The slightly taller early Yin-Yang realm martial artist asked hesitantly. Just half an hour ago, the Iron Tree Gate had suddenly launched a powerful attack on the Green Wolf Gang. If they hadn't returned in time, the Green Wolf Gang might have already been breached. This is a critical period. It's not appropriate for us to reveal our identities. The middle stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist thought about it and then said, how about this, you go out and stop the Iron Tree Gates sect master first. We'll wait for the Hall Master here. But the Hall Master wants us to wait for him at the entrance of the Green Wolf Gang, the taller early Yin-Yang realm martial artist said. Extreme times call for extreme measures. I believe the Hall Master won't say anything. The middle stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist said in a deep voice. All right, I'll go out now. Helpless, the taller martial artist's figure flashed, and he left the hall. At this time, the outside of the Green Wolf Gang's entrance was already overcrowded. After the farce of the arena battle ended, the martial artists of Wuta City encountered another lively matter, and that was the Iron Tree Gate besieging the Green Wolf Gang. The Iron Tree Gate and the Green Wolf Gang are both powerful underground forces of Wuta City. Why are they having a conflict? You don't know about this, right? The Iron Tree Gate's sect master has advanced to the Yin-Yang realm, so he wants to unify the underground forces of Wuta City. That's right. I heard that the upper echelons of the deathmatch arena were all killed and replaced with Iron Tree Gate martial artists. In that case, once the Iron Tree Gate deals with the Green Wolf Gang, they will dominate Wuta City. Seeing the Iron Tree Gate's army pressing down, the surrounding martial artists discussed animatedly, as if this matter was nothing out of the ordinary. Actually, it was no wonder. Wuta City was originally rather chaotic, and conflicts between forces frequently occurred. They were long used to it. If it wasn't for the Iron Tree Gate and the Green Wolf Gang, they would definitely not be here to watch the show, but would return to their homes and find their own mothers. Bastards of the Green Wolf Gang, your Grandpa Iron is here. Why aren't you coming out to welcome me? In front of the Green Wolf Gang's entrance, a tall martial artist said in a clear voice, Swish! As soon as the Iron Tree Gate's sect master's voice fell, a figure flew out from the Green Wolf Gang's courtyard. This figure landed in front of the Iron Tree Gate's sect master and said coldly, Old man Taizong, this is the Green Wolf Gang. It's not a place for you to behave atrociously. Oh, Deputy Sect Master of the Green Wolf Gang, where's your sect master? Why isn't he coming out to welcome me? Seeing that it wasn't the Green Wolf Gang's sect master, Taizong raised his brows and said sinisterly, I alone am enough to deal with you. Yuan Tong was very angry. The alchemist hall master had sent back a message that he would immediately come to the Green Wolf Gang. At this time, Taizong had come to act atrociously, which made him very angry. Therefore, he must teach Taizong a lesson. Swish! In the next moment, Yuan Tong's figure flashed and directly charged towards Taizong. Come at me. Seeing Yuan Tong charging towards him, Taizong did not retreat. He took a step forward and fought with Yuan Tong. While Taizong and Yuan Tong were fighting, Ningyu and the Red Devil sect had already arrived outside the Green Wolf gang and stopped at an inconspicuous place. Looking at the fierce battle not far away, Ningyu slightly frowned and muttered, "One of them is a martial artist from the Corpse sect at the early stage of the Yin-Yang stage. As for the other one is also at the early stage of the Yin-Yang stage, but he's not a martial artist from the Corpse sect, but someone from the Lanqing nation." Before Ning Yu finished speaking, Feng Zi continued. However, Feng Zi clenched his fists tightly and his words were filled with anger. Lanqing nation? Ning Yu was startled and asked doubtfully. That's right, that martial artist's name is Taizong, and he's from the Feng clan of the Lanqing nation, Feng Zi said while gnashing his teeth. Ning Yu was a little stunned. It was obvious that there was something unpleasant between Feng Zi and Taizong. "Ning Yu, leave Taizong to me later," Feng Zi said coldly. "You should tell me how Taizong offended you, right?" Ning Yu asked. Taking a deep breath, Feng Zi forced himself to calm down and said, "There are 2 reasons why I was forced to leave the Feng clan. The first was because of the Corpse sect, and the second was because of Taizong and his master. I can only tell you this for now. All right, but I have to remind you that Taizong is at the early stage of the Yin-Yang stage. With your current strength, it will be very difficult for you to contend against him." Chapter 428. Plot Feng Zi was only at the early Yuan Dan stage. Even if he used his trump card, it would be difficult for him to compete with an early Yin-Yang stage warrior. After all, there was a big gap between the early Yuan Dan stage and the early Yin-Yang stage. It would be very difficult for ordinary warriors to bridge this gap. Of course, Ningyu was an exception. "Ningyu, do you want to capture that Corpse sect martial artist?" On the side, Hong Emo pointed at the Corpse sect martial artist fighting with Taizong and asked, "It's not good to alert the enemy now. Let's enter the Green Wolf gang first." After pondering for a bit, Ningyu said, "The rest of the Corpse sect cultivators should be hidden inside the Green Wolf gang. If we act rashly here, the cultivators inside will definitely notice. At that time, the gains will not make up for the losses." "That's right. There's also a powerful Yin-Yang stage warrior inside," Sun Jiangwen continued. "When we subdue that Yin-Yang stage warrior, the early Yin-Yang stage warrior outside won't be a threat." "There's no time to lose. Lead the way and we'll go in now," Ningyu said in a deep voice. "Ningyu, I want to stay here." Feng Zi's attention was all on Taizong. He couldn't wait to kill Taizong. Therefore, he didn't enter the Green Wolf gang with Ningyu and the others. Instead, he chose to stay here. Ningyu didn't force him and directly entered the Green Wolf gang with Hong Emo and the others. In the main hall of the Green Wolf gang, there was Yin-Yang stage warrior sitting at the head of the table. Below him, there were 3 warriors standing side by side. "This stronghold is no longer safe. We need to move as soon as possible." The middle stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist's gaze slowly swept across the hall and finally landed on a slightly fat martial artist. He said in a deep voice, "Ma Wei, pack up all the magic treasures and elixirs in this stronghold. We will set off in 2 hours. Ing Feng, go out and help Yuan Tong. You must get rid of Taizong as soon as possible. Shiren Shan, go to the city lord's mansion and kill the city lord of Wu Tuo City." The middle stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist gave orders without any hesitation. The imperial family had likely taken measures against the Corpse sect, so it wouldn't make sense for them to be afraid. Therefore, before leaving, he decided to do something big. "Hee, Wang Haiba, you're very bold. How dare you give orders when I'm not here?" Just as Ma Wei and the others were about to leave the hall, a faint laughter sounded from outside. After that, a familiar figure slowly walked in from outside the hall. "Palace Master." Seeing this familiar figure, all the cultivators in the hall revealed a look of surprise. In particular, Wang Haiba, middle stage Yin-Yang stage martial artist, hurriedly got down from his seat and came to the side of the alchemist hall master. He respectfully said, "I didn't know that the hall master had arrived." "I apologize for not going out to greet you," cut the crap. "Bring me to the treasury. I want to check the magic treasures and pills inside." The alchemist hall master's tone was cold as he berated. Hearing the alchemist hall master's words, Wang Haiba did not dare to be negligent. He hurriedly walked to a corner of the hall, gathered essence around his wrist, and pushed against the stone wall. Creak! Suddenly, the stone wall caved in and a long and narrow passage appeared in front of everyone. "Hall master, please." Wang Hai made a gesture of invitation. Without any hesitation, the apothecary hall master stepped into the passageway. As for Wang Haiba, he quietly gestured to the other 3 cultivators in the hall before following the alchemist palace master into the passage. After the alchemist hall master and the others disappeared, the 3 cultivators in the hall exchanged glances with each other. Soon after, they rose from the ground and flew outside. At first, the passage was narrow, but as they went deeper, it gradually became wider. Not long after, the alchemist palace master and Wang Haiba arrived at the end of the passage. At the end of the passage was a stone room. Wang Haiba took out a key and opened the stone room. "Palace master, before we enter the stone room, can you tell me how the other 4 palace masters died?" However, before the alchemist palace master entered the stone room, Wang Haiba asked, "Why didn't you return to the corpse sect's headquarters and instead came to Wu Tua City? Could it be?" At this point, the corner of Wang Haiba's mouth rose slightly, and he continued, "You betrayed the corpse sect!" "Impudent!" The alchemist palace master's face instantly became gloomy, and he coldly said, "Nonsense! I am the alchemist palace master. You are just a small branch manager. How dare you speak to me like this?" "Sir Palace Master, don't pretend." With a sneer, Wang Haiba said, 10 minutes ago, the corpse sect's headquarters issued an order to capture you as soon as they see you. I have already given you face by not capturing you in front of Ma Wei and the others," the alchemist palace master scolded. "You want to rebel against the corpse sect." "Hee, I don't want to rebel against the corpse sect. It's just that the other 4 palace masters were killed, and you were able to escape. Don't you think it's a bit of a coincidence?" Wang Haiba laughed. "Besides, the second time you sent a message to the headquarters, the Great Xia Kingdom's crown prince had already left Wu Tua City. If you had sent a message earlier, we would have definitely captured him. But you didn't." Suddenly, the alchemist palace master calmed down and became abnormally calm. He faintly smiled and said, "Wang Haiba, do you think you can defeat me?" "Oh, right now, your strength should be less than 1/10 of your peak, right? And I am at the intermediate yin-yang stage. If I want to capture you, isn't it? What?" Wang Haiba raised his brows, and before he finished speaking, his face was filled with disbelief. Voila! 3 figures suddenly appeared in front of the alchemist palace master. Swoosh! 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 The 3 figures were none other than Ningyu, the Red Devil, and Sun Jiangwen. The 3 of them had hidden in the storage ring and were led into the passage by the alchemist palace master. Originally, Ningyu wanted to launch a surprise attack when Wang Haiba was unprepared, but since Wang Haiba was already suspicious, there was no need to continue hiding. Therefore, after coming out of the storage ring, Ningyu and the others immediately launched their attacks. Revolving Palm, Red Devil Sword Ray, Soul Attack. 3 low roars accompanied by 3 powerful attacks appeared in front of Wang Haiba in the blink of an eye. Damn it! The sudden change was clearly out of Wang Haiba's expectations. He knew that the alchemist palace master was likely to betray them, but he did not expect that he would bring 3 helpers. Earth Uppercut. Without any time to think, Wang Haiba immediately gathered Yuan Qi on his wrist and threw out 3 punches. Chi, chi, chi. A crisp sound rang out, and Wang Haiba's body fell backward like a kite with a broken string. Bang! Wang Haiba's body hit the stone wall, and he felt a sweetness in his throat as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Chapter 429. Tree of the World Whoosh. Ning Yu didn't stop after his first attack. Instead, he launched another attack. Ning Yu's principle when it came to dealing with his enemies was to hit where it hurt. Wang Haiba was at the middle stage of the yin-yang stage. If he was allowed to recover, the consequences would be unimaginable. Therefore, after Ning Yu gained the upper hand, he didn't dare to be careless and immediately launched a second attack. Damn it! Wang Haiba didn't even have time to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth. He slammed his hands on the ground and dashed forward. Crack! Fortunately, Wang Haiba dodged in time. Otherwise, this powerful attack from Ning Yu would have been enough to make him suffer. Humph! You don't even have a yin-yang stage martial artist, and you still want to defeat me? After dodging Ning Yu's attack, Wang Haiba snorted coldly and said, "Today, I will let you know the power of a middle-stage yin-yang stage martial artist." As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Haiba released his aura, which was divided into 3 parts and crazily pressed against Ning Yu and the others. The strength of an early-stage 6th-grade soul force. Feeling the powerful aura from Wang Haiba, Ning Yu's eyes narrowed slightly and he was slightly surprised. A middle-stage yin-yang stage cultivation and an early-stage 6th-grade soul force. Even in Danu College and the imperial family, it was enough to be a high-ranking person. In the corpse sect, he was only in charge of a small branch. From this, it could be seen how powerful the corpse sect was. Sun Jiangwen, Ning Yu shouted and ordered, "Let him experience the true meaning of soul force." Understood. Sun Jiangwen had been waiting for this moment. After getting Ning Yu's approval, his peak 7th-grade soul force poured out and pressed against Wang Haiba unscrupulously. "What? Your soul force has reached the peak of 7th grade." As soon as Sun Jiangwen used his soul force, Wang Haiba's expression changed drastically and he was dumbfounded. He had originally thought that Sun Jiangwen was just an unknown martial artist at the pinnacle of the primal core stage. Who would have thought that his soul power had reached the pinnacle of the 7th grade? Suddenly, Wang Haiba's eyes widened. Pointing at Sun Jiangwen, he exclaimed, "You're a peak 7th grade alchemist. Could it be that you're the chief alchemist of the Alchemist Hall?" Sun Jiangwen. Actually, it was no wonder that Wang Haiba didn't know Sun Jiangwen. He was stationed in Wuta City all year round, and he'd only heard of the head alchemist of the Alchemist Hall, Sun Jiangwen, and had never seen him in person. If not for the presence of the Master of Alchemy Division, he would not have associated this primal core pinnacle warrior with Sun Jiangwen. Since the Alchemist Temple Master had betrayed the corpse sect, then it was very likely that Sun Jiangwen had also betrayed the corpse sect. "Don't you think it's a little too late to know my identity now?" The corner of Sun Jiangwen's lips curled up as he controlled his soul power, crazily pressing down on Wang Haiba, not daring to hold back. "Solitaire!" Ning Yu shouted and hurriedly waved the red demon sword in his hand, instantly sending out several sword waves. Before entering the Green Wolf Gang, Ning Yu had asked for the red demon sword back. After all, to deal with the yin-yang stage intermediate stage warrior, relying on a heaven lower grade soul breaking sword was far from enough. Swish, swish, swish. As the red demon sword in Ning Yu's hand continued to wave, several sword waves formed in an instant and rushed towards Wang Haiba. On one hand, he was suppressed by Sun Jiangwen's peak 7th grade soul power, and on the other hand, he was besieged by several sword waves. Wang Haiba was gradually at a disadvantage. Rumble. However, just when Ning Yu thought that he would slowly exhaust Wang Haiba to death, the wall on the side of the passage suddenly burst. Swish, swish, swish. Soon after, 3 figures steadily landed in this area. Looking at the 3 figures that suddenly appeared, Ning Yu's expression changed, and his heart sank to the bottom. The 3 figures in front of him were none other than the 3 Yin-Yang stage, early stage warriors in the main hall. In other words, the 3 of them were also warriors of the Corpse Yin sect. Seeing the 3 warriors standing there in a daze, Wang Haiba shouted, "What the F***CK are you still standing there for? Hurry up and kill them all." Hearing this, Ma Wei and the others immediately joined the battle. With the addition of Ma Wei and the others, the pressure on Wang Haiba was greatly reduced. In an instant, the situation changed from being suppressed by Ningyu and the others to being suppressed by Ningyu's group. The Red Demon and Sun Jiangwen faced the 3 Yin-Yang stage, early stage warriors. Ning Yu held the Red Demon sword in his hand and fought with Wang Haiba. Bang! After all, Wang Haiba was a Yin-Yang stage, intermediate stage warrior. Ning Yu only lasted for 10 moves before Wang Haiba seized the opportunity and punched him in the chest. His body slammed into the stone wall behind him, and even the stone wall caved in. A Yin-Yang stage, intermediate stage warrior is really powerful. Ning Yu's mind raced as he tried to think of a countermeasure. The reason why he was able to kill Wenhong was because Wenhong was careless and his strength was not at its peak. Now that he was facing Wang Haiba at his peak, it was not easy for Ningyu to last for 10 moves. In your next life, remember not to offend people you shouldn't offend. At this moment, Wang Haiba's figure flashed and appeared in front of Ningyu. His fist brought with it a violent Yuan Qi gale as he ruthlessly punched at Ningyu's heart. This attack was very powerful. If Ningyu was unlucky enough to be hit, even if he didn't die, he would be crippled. At this critical moment, Ningyu gathered all the Yuan Qi in his body at his heart, hoping to resist this fatal attack from Wang Haiba. Kacha! However, Wang Haiba's attack was too powerful. Almost instantly, it shattered the Yuan Qi barrier in front of Ningyu's heart. Immediately after, Wang Haiba's fist gradually expanded in front of Ningyu's eyes, and finally, it ruthlessly punched at Ningyu's heart. Ah! In the next moment, a pig-slaughtering scream sounded in the area. Hearing this voice, Hong Mo and the rest stopped their attacks and turned to look at Ningyu. What? This is impossible. Absolutely impossible. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? The first to speak were Ma Wei and the rest. Their eyes were wide open, and their faces were filled with disbelief. This is too ridiculous, right? The next to speak were Hong Mo and Sun Jiangwen. Compared to the shock on Ma Wei and the rest's faces, the shock on their faces was even more intense. He's so strong? On the other side, the alchemist hall master's mouth was also slightly open. The shock on his face was no less than that of Hong Mo and Sun Jiangwen. The person who was the most shocked was none other than Ningyu. Ningyu looked at Wang Haiba's bloody palm, and then lowered his head to look at his heart. His face was filled with confusion. Suddenly, Ningyu seemed to have thought of something. He reached his palm into his robe and took out a small branch. Oh, right! He had obtained this branch from the Zhang family in Ivory City. At that time, he felt that it was relatively hard, so he placed it at his heart to prevent any accidents. Unexpectedly, it really saved his life. What? Chapter 430. A Great Battle. What is a World Tree? Ningyu's heart skipped a beat when he heard the alchemist temple lord's words. This was the first time Ningyu had heard of the term World Tree. In other words, he knew nothing about the World Tree. I also know very little about the World Tree. I've only read about it in the records of the Corpse Sect's headquarters. The alchemist temple lord explained, the records only described the World Tree in 2 sentences, indestructible and regenerative. Indestructible, regenerative? Ningyu was slightly startled when he heard this. He felt that it was unbelievable. The meaning of the words was not difficult to understand. The world tree was very tough and could grow again. However, this description was a bit vague, and it was difficult to determine the true form of the world tree. As for whether the branch in his hand was the world tree or not, it was even more difficult to determine. Just from its toughness, it was not enough to prove that it was the world tree's branch. The alchemist temple lord nodded and said, "That's right. There are very few records about the world tree. If I wasn't the alchemist temple lord, I wouldn't have been able to read such important information." In other words, Wang Haiba's right hand is completely crippled? Ning Yu pointed at Sun Jiangwen, who had a pained expression on his face, and asked, "He's basically crippled, losing his right hand. His strength has dropped by at least 50%. The alchemist temple lord said with certainty, "As long as Sun Jiangwen restrains his soul force, you and Hong Emo can easily kill him." "Alchemist temple lord, you traitor! I'll definitely send this news back to the corpse sect's headquarters and make you suffer." Wang Haiba was furious when he heard the alchemist temple lord's words. He, a wise man, submits to circumstances. Being scolded by Wang Haiba, the alchemist temple lord did not get angry and smiled. In fact, there was something that the alchemist temple lord did not say. If he had not taken 2 inner demon pills and been tortured by Sun Jiangwen for a long time, he would not have been so obedient to Ningyu. The pain of being bitten by 10,000 ants from the inner demon pill was not something an ordinary person could endure. "You want to kill me? Don't forget that Ma Wei and the others are also at the yin-yang initial stage. As long as we want to, it's still very easy for us to leave." Forcefully enduring the pain coming from his wrist, Wang Haiba regained his composure and said solemnly, "This is troublesome." Ningyu frowned and fell into deep thought. Although Wang Haiba was seriously injured, there were still 3 early-stage yin-yang stage martial artists on their side. If they wanted to leave, it would be difficult for him to stop them. Now that his identity had been exposed, if Wang Haiba sent the news back to the headquarters of the Corpsine sect, the Corpsine sect might send experts to surround and kill him. At that time, even if he had 3 heads and 6 arms, he wouldn't be able to escape. Suddenly, Ningyu had an idea and said to Wang Haiba, "How about we make a deal?" "You're still trying to play tricks at a time like this?" Wang Haiba obviously didn't fall for Ningyu's tricks. He said proudly, "We'll meet again." With that, Wang Haiba turned his head and walked out of the passage. Seeing that Wang Haiba was about to leave, Sun Jiangwen hurriedly said, "Ningyu, you can't let them leave like this. Once they tell the higher-ups of the Corpsine sect, we will suffer a disaster." Sun Jiangwen was even more anxious than Ningyu. After all, he had betrayed the Corpsine sect. If Wang Haiba and the others returned to the headquarters of the Corpsine sect, he would definitely suffer. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu seemed to have made a great decision and said, "Hong Emo, Sun Jiangwen, and the alchemist temple master, the 3 of you deal with Ma Wei and the others. As for Wang Haiba, leave him to me." As soon as he said that, Ningyu leaped up from the ground. His body turned into an afterimage as he charged at Wang Haiba. In fact, even if Sun Jiangwen didn't say anything, Ningyu would never allow Wang Haiba to escape. Seeing Ningyu rushing toward him, Wang Haiba kicked Ma Wei's butt and shouted, "Go, the 3 of you go! Stop Ningyu!" Swish, swish, swish. Ma Wei and the others didn't dare to be negligent and immediately attacked, wanting to block Ningyu's powerful attack. "Your opponents are here." However, just as Ma Wei and the others were about to attack, they saw Hong Emo and Sun Jiangwen appear in front of them and launch powerful attacks at them. Helpless, they could only give up on attacking Ningyu and fight Hong Emo and the others. Damn it! The sudden change caused Wang Haiba's expression to change greatly. He had no choice but to face Ningyu alone. After secretly cursing, Wang Haiba gathered all the origin energy in his body on his left wrist and threw a backhand punch at Ningyu's fist. Kacha! The 2 fists collided and a crisp sound rang out. Wang Haiba and Ning Yu both took a few steps back. Through this attack, it could be determined that the current strength of Ning Yu and Wang Haiba was almost the same. Humph! Want to defeat me? It's not that easy. Wang Haiba coldly snorted after not being at a disadvantage. So much nonsense. Rotating palm. With a low bellow, the origin energy in Ning Yu's consciousness surged out and gathered on his palm. In the next moment, a tangible palm print separated from Ning Yu's palm. Chi-chi. Wherever the palm print passed, even the air was compressed and dispersed in all directions, emitting sizzling sounds. Swoosh! Just as the rotating palm was about to hit Wang Haiba, Ning Yu attacked with his pinnacle 5th grade soul force and chased after the rotating palm. A mere origin energy palm print, and you think you can defeat me? Not good. Seeing that the palm print containing violent origin energy was about to reach him, Wang Haiba's lips curled up. However, just as he was about to mock, his expression changed, and he quickly retreated. Boom! Before Wang Haiba could retreat, the rotating will palm exploded in front of him. Rumble! The aftermath of the explosion was so strong that the tunnel shook, and it looked like it was about to collapse. What's going on? Where did this explosion come from? Judging from the sound, it should be from the Green Wolf Gang. The vice leader of the Green Wolf Gang is fighting with the leader of the Iron Tree Gang. With the leader of the Green Wolf Gang inside, there shouldn't be any problems, right? That's hard to say. Maybe there's another force surrounding the Green Wolf Gang. The sound of the explosion caused Yuan Tong's eyes to reveal a shocked expression. He could not understand why there would be such a powerful explosion when Wang Haiba and the others were inside the Green Wolf Gang's main hall. Could it be that there was another force surrounding the Green Wolf Gang, like what the surrounding martial artist said? It's not good to be distracted while fighting me. Just then, Taizong seized the opportunity and quickly appeared in front of Yuan Tong. His fist carried with it an extremely violent origin energy and slammed into Yuan Tong's chest. Bang! At such a close distance, Yuan Tong's expression changed, and he used all his strength to kick at Taizong's calf. Puchi! Crack! Chapter 431. Setting up a formation, Yuan Tong. This day next year will be the anniversary of your death. Taizong was furious. Due to a moment of carelessness, his calf was broken by Yuan Tong. Only by killing Yuan Tong would he be able to resolve the hatred in his heart. Swoosh! With that, Taizong rose from the ground. His body was like a sharp sword as he instantly appeared in front of Yuan Tong. In the next moment, Taizong threw a punch, and it landed right on Yuan Tong's heart. Bang! Taizong's attack was heavy, and he used almost all the strength in his body without holding back at all. Due to the heavy injury, Yuan Tong could only watch as Taizong's fist landed on his heart. A muffled sound resounded in the area once more. Immediately after, Yuan Tong's body was like a kite with a broken string, falling straight to the ground. Finally, he landed heavily on the ground. At this moment, the vice leader of the Green Wolves Gang, Yuan Tong, had died in battle. Swoosh! Yuan Tong's death caused a commotion in the surroundings. No one had expected that Yuan Tong would be the first to be killed. One had to know that Yuan Tong and Taizong were evenly matched not long ago. Neither could do anything to the other. Yuan Tong was killed just like that? That's right, he was killed. The cause was the explosion in the Green Wolves Gang. If not for that explosion, Yuan Tong would not have been killed. He died too unjustly. Unjustly? He was distracted during the fight. He can't blame anyone else. The surrounding martial artists were still rather regretful about Yuan Tong's death in battle. After all, it happened so suddenly. If it were them, they would not have a good time either. An explosion occurred in their own gang. It was inevitable for them to be slightly distracted. Swoosh! At this moment, a figure suddenly flew over from afar and landed steadily in front of Taizong. It's you. Looking at the martial artist who suddenly appeared in front of him, Taizong's eyes widened and his face was filled with shock. Very quickly, the shock on his face disappeared and was replaced by a look of ecstasy. Ha ha ha, I can wear out iron shoes in fruitless searching and find you by chance. I was just about to deal with the Green Wolves gang before looking for you. Who would have thought that you would come knocking on my door? Since that's the case, I won't hold back. With a sneer, Taizong's figure suddenly moved, and he attacked Feng Zi. In the face of Taizong's sudden attack, Feng Zi seemed to have been prepared. He left his original position with a few leaps, then suddenly exerted strength in his legs and leaped up. Whoosh! While in the air, Feng Zi made a grabbing motion in the air. Immediately, a cold light appeared in his hands, and he suddenly threw it towards Taizong. You overestimate yourself. An ominous glint flashed across Taizong's eyes. He clenched his fists, and violent yuan qi wrapped around his wrists. In the next moment, he took a step forward, and a soft explosion rang out from under his feet. Then, like a spirit, his body dodged the cold light in an instant and shot towards Feng Zi. Who is this martial artist? Could it be the Green Wolf gang? I don't think so. The Green Wolf gang doesn't have such a young expert. He's not from the Green Wolf gang, and he has a grudge against the Iron Tree gang. Could he be a martial artist from the Death Arena? He's only an early primal core martial artist. He's definitely not a match for Taizong. Death is only a matter of time. Sigh, after today, the Iron Tree gang will be the sole power in Wu Tua City. Ningyu had no idea what had happened in front of the Green Wolf gang. At this moment, he stood at the end of the passageway. In front of him, Wang Haiba knelt on the ground with a face full of viciousness. I didn't expect that palm print to be a soul attack palm print. Wang Haiba was very unwilling and said angrily, If you have the ability, let's fight again. This time, I will definitely beat you until you look for your teeth all over the ground. Ningyu, in my opinion, it's better to kill him to prevent any undue delay. Beside him, Hong Mo reminded. The aftermath of the rotating wheel palm's explosion was too great. Not only did it cause Wang Haiba to suffer heavy injuries, even Ma Wei and the other two had suffered a certain degree of injury. Fortunately, Ningyu had informed him and Sun Jiangwen in advance. Otherwise, he would definitely have suffered heavy injuries. The result was obvious. Hong Mo and Sun Jiangwen seized the opportunity to capture Ma Wei and the others. The corner of Ningyu's mouth rose as he lightly said, Don't worry, I still have a use for these corpse sect martial artists. Then Ningyu turned to Sun Jiangwen and said, Find a way to remove the corpse sect's aura from the four of them. Get rid of it completely. We can't let anyone find out that they are from the corpse sect. This, Sun Jiangwen revealed a difficult expression. What? You can't do it? Ningyu raised his eyebrows and said calmly, It's not that I can't do it, but I need a lot of origin crystals to arrange their ray. Sun Jiangwen gritted his teeth, stretched out a finger, and said, 5 million top-grade origin crystals. I need 5 million top-grade origin crystals to arrange the array. 5 million top-grade origin crystals. Why don't you go rob someone? Hearing Sun Jiangwen's words, Ningyu jumped up from the ground with a look of disbelief on his face. Wouldn't it take a long time to refine so many top-grade origin crystals? What kind of array was Sun Jiangwen going to arrange that required so many top-grade origin crystals? Ningyu, every cultivator who enters the corpse sect will soak in the corpse pool for a day, leaving behind a special smell on their body. Sun Jiangwen explained, This is also the key to why cultivators with high cultivation can easily distinguish between corpse sect cultivators. The array I arranged can not only remove the smell on Wang Haiba and the others, but it can also remove the smell on me and the alchemist hall master. Sun Jiangwen continued, You don't want the corpse sect to find us by following our smell, do you? That's true. Ningyu nodded and said, I can give you 5 million top-grade origin crystals. Where do you want to arrange the array? How long will it take to succeed? You don't have to worry about that. You only need to arrange the array in the storage ring. As for the time, Sun Jiangwen paused for a moment before continuing, it will take about 3 days. After 3 days, it will be successful. At that time, even the higher-ups of the corpse sect will find it difficult to find us by following our smell. How about this? I'll give you 6 million top-grade origin crystals. Arrange the array in the storage ring. If you fail in 3 days, you should know the consequences. After pondering for a moment, Ning Yu took out a jade bottle. Demon Heart Pill. There were 4 Demon Heart pills inside the jade bottle. Originally, Ning Yu had obtained 6 Demon Heart pills from Su Jinfu. He had used 2 to control the alchemist hall master, so there were 4 left. Wang Haiba and the others happened to have 4 people, so 4 Demon Heart pills was just enough. Hong Mo, give them these Demon Heart pills. Ning Yu casually threw the jade bottle to Hong Mo and said lightly, "Okay." Chapter 432. Defeated Inner Demon Pill. After swallowing the Inner Demon Pill, Ma Wei coughed twice. His face was filled with horror as he shouted, "You gave me the Inner Demon Pill!" Noisy. With a low shout, Hong Mo used the same method to throw the remaining 3 Inner Demon Pills into the mouths of Wang Haiba and the others. Hong Mo, I'll leave these 4 Corpse Een sect martial artists to you. Seeing that Wang Haiba and the others had swallowed the Inner Demon Pill, Ning Yu waved his hand, signaling Hong Mo to control the 4 of them. Ning Yu had already controlled the alchemist hall master. If he controlled Wang Haiba and the others as well, he would definitely be distracted, which would greatly affect his future pill refining. Hong Mo was different. He was a spirit body, so no matter how many martial artists he controlled, he wouldn't be distracted. Okay, since it's like this, I won't refuse. Hong Mo wasn't an indecisive person. He immediately forced out 4 drops of red liquid from his body and sent them into Wang Haiba and the others' bodies. Chi. As soon as the red liquid entered Wang Haiba and the others' bodies, it fused with their blood and instantly controlled them. Hong Mo, you and Sun Jiangwen enter the storage ring together. Be sure to get rid of the smell on Wang Haiba and the others. Seeing that Hong Mo had completely controlled Wang Haiba and the others, Ning Yu said in a deep voice, "You can use the crystals in the storage ring. As long as we succeed this time, we will have something to rely on in the future. Even if we encounter a Yin-Yang realm martial artist, we will be able to contend against him." Swoosh! With that said, Ning Yu flicked his sleeve and directly threw the storage ring into the air. Then, a huge beam of light swept out from the storage ring and enveloped Hong Mo and the others. In the next moment, Hong Mo and the others disappeared together with a beam of light and entered the storage ring. Phew! After doing all this, Ning Yu let out a long breath, sorted out his thoughts, and walked straight to the stone room not far away. The stone room had already been opened by Wang Haiba, so Ning Yu entered the stone room without the slightest obstruction. Why is there nothing? Looking at the empty stone chamber, Ning Yu was a little stunned. Logically speaking, all of the Corpse Een sect's resources in Wu Tua City should be in this stone room. Why wasn't there even a single hair? Could it be that Wang Haiba had already moved it away? Thinking of this, Ning Yu's expression was a little gloomy. He had gone through untold hardships to come to this foothold, and he had even almost died here, but in the end he had gained nothing. Hong Mo, ask where the magic treasures and pills of this stronghold are. Ning Yu's consciousness sank into the storage ring and directly communicated with Hong Mo originally. Hong Mo was working with Sun Jiangwen to construct the array formation. Hearing Ning Yu's words, he immediately stopped what he was doing and asked Wang Haiba. After a while, Hong Mo's expression turned ugly as he said in a deep voice, "The magic treasures and pills are not here." They are in another place, but Wang Haiba had set up an array formation there. The moment he was defeated, he detonated that place. F***CK. Hearing this, Ningyu's face was full of black lines. He wished he could immediately kill Wang Haiba. At the end of the day, it was really all for naught. It was a strenuous and unrewarding task. You go help Sun Jiangwen. I'll go out and see how Fengzi is doing. Since he couldn't find any magic treasures or pills, Ningyu didn't plan to stay here. His figure flashed and disappeared into the passage in the blink of an eye. Boom! In front of the Green Wolf gang, two figures separated and floated in the air. Third young master, I didn't expect your wave, splitting palm to have reached this level. Tai Zong's face was a little gloomy as he said viciously, but if you think you can defeat me like this, then you are too naive. But you can rest assured that I won't kill you. I will only capture you and send you back to the Feng clan to be tortured by the young master. Ha ha ha. With that, Tai Zong laughed unscrupulously. A dog is a dog. A dog for a day, a dog for life. Fengzi's face showed a dignified expression. Although Tai Zong was seriously injured when fighting with Yuan Tong, he was at the beginning stage of the Yin-Yang realm. His strength was still slightly stronger than Fengzi's. If the battle continued like this, the final winner would undoubtedly be Tai Zong, seeking death. With a cold look in his eyes, Tai Zong charged at Fengzi once again. Ever since he came to Wu Tua City, he had never been called a dog by anyone. Fengzi was the first warrior who dared to say that. Therefore, Tai Zong secretly made up his mind to teach Fengzi a lesson. Even if he couldn't kill Fengzi, he had to let him know what he could say and what he shouldn't. Oh no! Seeing that Tai Zong was about to reach him, Fengzi's expression changed. He hurriedly pushed out his right hand and unavoidably collided with Tai Zong's fist. Bang! In the next moment, a crisp sound rang out. Fengzi's body fell backward like a kite with a broken string. Uft! Without a doubt, Fengzi landed heavily on the ground and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. His face was extremely pale. Sigh, in the end, there was no miracle. Yeah, it's really too difficult for an early Primal Core warrior to defeat Tai Zong. This early Primal Core warrior is already not easy. To be able to withstand more than 10 moves from Tai Zong, even if he's killed, it's something to be proud of. What's the use of being proud? He's still going to be killed. If I have to choose between being proud and living, I'll definitely choose living. Initially, when Fengzi and Tai Zong were fighting, the surrounding warriors were more optimistic about Fengzi. After all, Tai Zong had just battled with Yuan Tong and had expended a lot of energy. Even one of his calves had been broken. Who would have thought that the final victor would still be Tai Zong? If there were no accidents, Fengzi would be killed sooner or later. Third young master, today I let you know that a dog that has been chased out of the family is not worthy. Oh no! After making Fengzi spit out blood with one move, the anger on Tai Zong's face lessened slightly. He walked towards Fengzi step by step, wanting to cripple one of Fengzi's legs. However, before he reached Fengzi, his expression changed drastically. Without thinking much, he immediately retreated. Swoosh! As Tai Zong retreated, a shocking sword wave appeared above his head. The sword wave was extremely fast. Almost at the moment when Tai Zong retreated, it was already heading for his head. Chi-chi! At the critical moment, Tai Zong gritted his teeth and directly took out his flying sword, slashing out a series of sword rays. When the sword wave and the sword ray came into contact, a chi-chi sound rang out. Immediately, the sword ray was dispersed. Then, the sword wave gradually expanded in Tai Zong's eyes and finally slashed fiercely on his chest. Whoosh! Although the sword ray blocked the power of the sword wave, the remnant sword wave still caused Tai Zong to retreat a few steps, and a bloody gash appeared on his chest. Who are you? Holding back the sharp pain coming from his chest, Taizong's expression was extremely cold as he berated. As Taizong's voice fell, a slightly thin figure slowly walked out from the courtyard of the Green Wolf Triad. This figure did not answer Taizong, but directly went in front of Fengzi and helped him up. Chapter 433. Chapter 433. Death Help, Ningyu. What's he doing here? Is he also from the Green Wolf Gang? Ningyu is not a member of the Green Wolf Gang. It's just that he has a good relationship with this early primal core stage warrior. After all, they had joined forces to fight the fourth prince of the Lanqing Kingdom in the square of Wuta City. Ningyu is very strong. I wonder if he is a match for Taizong. It's hard to say. Taizong is an early Yin-Yang realm warrior. With Ningyu's strength, it should be very difficult to contend with him. Ningyu's sudden appearance caused the surrounding warriors to be in an uproar. Originally, they thought that Fengzi was going to be killed. Who would have thought that Ningyu would appear here and block the fatal blow for Fengzi? Kid, didn't you hear what I said? Seeing that Ningyu was ignoring him, Taizong was furious and shouted, "I'll give you one more chance to tell me your identity. Otherwise, I'll make you suffer. Fengzi, you stay here and recuperate first. Leave the rest to me." Ningyu gently put Fengzi down and then walked towards Taizong step by step. Ningyu did not walk very fast, but every step he took landed heavily on the ground. The sound of his feet hitting the ground made the surrounding warriors tremble. Not long after, Ningyu came to stand in front of Taizong. "You're called Taizong? I'll give you a chance to say what enmity you have with Fengzi." Ningyu's tone was calm, as if he was talking to a stranger. "Ha ha ha." Taizong looked up to the sky and laughed wildly as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. Immediately his face turned cold and he said gloomily, "Kid, I have to say that you're the most arrogant person I've seen in Wuta City. In order to give you a little reward, I've decided to peel off your skin and feed it to the dogs." Swoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, Taizong's eyes revealed a vicious glint. With a backhand, he threw out a palm print that directly attacked Ningyu's face. Looking at the approaching palm print, Ningyu's expression did not change. The essence in his sea of consciousness surged as he pushed out his palm. Chi-chi! The moment the two palm prints came into contact, Ningyu immediately drew out the red demon sword and slashed out several sword ripples. Voila! Countless sword ripples separated from the red demon's sword and blasted toward Taizong. Not good. Taizong was, after all, an early-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist with strong perception. The moment the sword wave struck, he realized that something was wrong and immediately retreated. He could sense that every single sword ripple contained extremely berserk yuan qi undulations. The extremely berserk yuan qi undulations even made him want to flee. This feeling was something he had never felt before. Even when he faced a Yin-Yang realm martial artist, he didn't have the urge to run away. Pucci! However, the moment Taizong wanted to dodge, he was already at a disadvantage. Countless sword waves covered the sky and covered the earth as they attacked him, almost enveloping him in an instant. Is Taizong trapped in the sword ripple formation? What kind of sword ripples did Ningyu slash out? It can actually trap Taizong, an early-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist. According to my observation, the sword ripples that Ningyu slashed out are at least superior heaven rank martial techniques. It's still difficult for a superior heaven rank martial technique to trap Taizong. In my opinion, it's most likely a king rank martial technique. What? King rank martial technique? Hearing the martial artist's analysis, the surrounding martial artists were once again in an uproar. King rank martial techniques were rarely circulated in the market, except for some super first-rate forces. They were priceless. King rank martial techniques were really priceless. If it's a king rank martial technique, then Taizong is probably done for. That's for sure. However, Ningyu isn't any better off. He has trapped the Iron Tree sect leader. How can the other elders of the Iron Tree sect let him off? That's right. The Iron Tree sect has a peak primal core martial artist and 3 late-stage primal core martial artists. Look, Ningyu is surrounded by the Iron Tree sect elders. Whoosh! Following the palm of the last martial artist, the crowd's gaze fell on Ningyu. They saw that Ningyu was surrounded by dozens of martial artists. Among the dozens of martial artists, there was a peak primal core martial artist and 3 late-stage primal core martial artists. As for the rest of the mid-stage and early-stage primal core martial artists, there were at least a dozen of them. Ningyu, if you don't want to die, release our sect leader. Otherwise, we'll show you what's coming. The peak primal core martial artist berated Ningyu, his tone full of threat. Hee, you are a peak primal core martial artist, and your sect leader is in the early Yin-Yang stage. Even he is no match for me. Do you think you can defeat me? Ningyu smiled and said, Humph, if it were me, it would naturally be difficult to defeat you. However, I'm not the only one here. The peak primal core martial artist snorted and said darkly, You only have one chance to choose. Are you going to release him or not? It's impossible to release him. Just give up, Ningyu said with a shrug. Good, you've got guts. The peak primal core martial artist shouted, Brothers, let's go. Whoever takes down Ningyu, I'll give him the position of deputy leader of the Green Wolf sect. Whoosh! Having received the promise of the peak primal core martial artist, the martial artists of the Iron Tree sect seemed to have taken a stimulant. They howled and charged at Ningyu. Under the temptation of such a huge profit, they had already thrown their lives to the back of their minds. All they could think about was the position of deputy leader of the Green Wolf sect. Since you're all looking for death, don't blame me. With a cold expression, Ningyu's legs moved quickly, and in an instant he was engaged in battle with the many martial artists of the Iron Tree sect. Bang! 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 Ningyu's movements were extremely fast, and in an instant he had forced 3 early primal core martial artists to retreat. After forcing 3 early primal core martial artists to retreat, Ningyu's speed did not decrease. Instead, he became even faster. Bang, bang, bang. In the next instant, another few martial artists were forced to retreat. In the short span of a minute, out of the tens of martial artists of the Iron Tree sect, only 4 were left standing. 1 peak primal core and 3 late primal core. These 4 martial artists looked at each other and slowly retreated. Through the exchange just now, they had basically determined that Ningyu's true strength far exceeded theirs. Boom! At this moment, a loud explosion sounded. Then, the sword wave array that Ningyu had created exploded, and a wretched figure flew out from within. He's Taizong? If not Taizong, who else could it be? It's just that he seems to be seriously injured. He's definitely injured. You have to know that the power of Ningyu's sword wave array is extremely terrifying. When the surrounding martial artists saw the wretched Taizong, their mouths were slightly agape, and they revealed expressions of disbelief. Because at this moment, not only was Taizong's clothes ragged, even his breathing was extremely weak. It could be said that the current Taizong, even a connate stage martial artist, could easily kill him. Fengzi, settle your grudge with Taizong yourself. This is all I can help you with. Chapter 434. Obstruction. As Ningyu's voice faded, Fengzi stood up from the ground and dragged his heavy footsteps towards Taizong. Before long, Fengzi arrived in front of Taizong. Taizong, I won't kill you today. Taking a deep breath, Fengzi resisted the urge to kill Taizong and said in a solemn voice, I'll spare your dog life. Bring a message to your master for me. Tell him that what I've lost, I'll get it back sooner or later. Feng! Hearing Feng Zi's words, Ning Yu's brows furrowed slightly, wanting to say something to remind him. After all, one could not be soft-hearted when dealing with enemies. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. But just as Ning Yu's words left his mouth, he saw Feng Zi's right hand chopping towards Tai Zong's head viciously. Ah! In the next moment, a hysterical scream resounded in the area. Immediately after, Tai Zong hugged his head with both hands and rolled left and right on the ground. What did Feng Zi do to Tai Zong? Why is Tai Zong in such pain? That goes without saying. Feng Zi crippled Tai Zong's sea of consciousness. What? Crippled the sea of consciousness? Doesn't that mean that from now on, Tai Zong will no longer have the possibility of cultivation? When the surrounding martial artists saw Tai Zong's miserable state, they all revealed shocked expressions. There were even some low-level martial artists whose gazes, when looking at Feng Zi, changed. It was just that any martial artist whose cultivation reached the true martial realm all looked at Ningyu in a different light. The reason why Feng Zi could cripple Tai Zong's sea of consciousness was entirely due to Ningyu's efforts. If not for Ningyu's sword wave formation, the martial artist whose sea of consciousness was crippled would definitely not be Tai Zong, but Feng Zi. Ignoring the surrounding martial artist discussions, Feng Zi slowly walked in front of Ningyu and said in a solemn voice, "Great kindness cannot be thanked with words. This kindness, I'll remember it. What's there to be courteous with me for?" Ningyu smiled slightly and said, "What plans do you have next? Are you coming with me to the capital or returning to Lanqing Nation?" "To the capital." After pondering for a while, Feng Zi said, "I still have some matters to attend to. I'll return to the Blue Spirit Nation after I'm done." "All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's set off immediately." "Ning, you didn't want to stay here any longer. After all, the stronghold of the Alchemist Hall had already been uprooted. Even Wang Haiba and the others were under their control. There was no need to stay. If he delayed any longer, he would only wait for the experts of the Corpsine sect to arrive. After 2 big battles, Ningyu had consumed a lot of energy. If 1 or 2 Yin-Yang realm experts of the Corpsine sect came, he would definitely not be their opponent. Therefore, Ningyu chose to leave Wuta City as soon as possible and return to the capital. Go. Feng Zi was not an indecisive person. When he said he wanted to leave, he left without any hesitation. Whoosh! As Feng Zi's injuries were more severe, Ningyu grabbed him and quickly flew out of Wuta City. Seeing Ningyu and Feng Zi leave, all the cultivators in the area were dumbfounded, standing there blankly. Crash! After a long while, these cultivators came back to their senses and burst into exclamations. Ningyu and Feng Zi left just like that? A martial artist in the early stage of the true martial realm asked doubtfully, "Are you blind? They've been gone for a while. They should have left Wuta City by now." Next to him, a martial artist in the middle stage of the true martial realm said disdainfully, "No matter what, Ningyu seriously injured Tai Zong and more or less helped the Green Wolf Gang." On the other side, a martial artist in the early stage of the primal core stage analyzed, "The one who is most proud now should be the leader of the Green Wolf Gang. From now on, the underground forces of Wuta City will cover the sky with one hand." Sigh, what a pity for the Iron Tree sect. There were bursts of sighs all around. Originally, they thought that the Iron Tree sect would unify the underground forces of Wuta City. Who would have thought that after so many twists and turns, the one who benefited in the end was the Green Wolf Gang? There was one thing they didn't know. At this time, the Green Wolf Gang was already in chaos. The deputy leader, Yuan Tong, was killed, and the leader, Wang Haiba, and the other 3 deputy leaders were missing. Most of them wanted to fight for the leader's position, not to unify the underground forces of Wuta City. After leaving Wuta City, Ningyu and Feng Zi rushed towards the capital. Wuta City was not very far from the capital. If Ningyu rushed at full speed, It would only take a day at most to reach the capital. It was just that Ningyu and Feng Zi stopped in a town halfway and rested for half a day until both of them had recovered to their peak condition. Only then did they choose to leave. In the afternoon of the second day, Ningyu and Feng Zi stopped in front of the capital's gate. So this is the capital of the Xia kingdom. Standing in front of the gate, Feng Zi's eyes revealed a hint of passion as he murmured, "You've never been here before?" Ningyu asked. Shaking his head, Feng Zi said, "This is my first time here. I hope it won't disappoint me." "How does the capital of the Lanqing kingdom compare to this?" Ningyu asked again. "The capital of the Xia kingdom has a feeling of vicissitudes, like it's lifeless, while the capital of the Lanqing kingdom gives off a feeling of vitality." Feng Zi slowly said with his eyes closed, "Haha, vicissitudes and vitality are two different experiences. Let's go find Si Kongling first." With a slight smile, Ningyu strode into the capital of the Xia kingdom. Behind him, Feng Zi did not hesitate and followed closely. Ningyu had been to Si Kongling's residence before, so after entering the capital, he directly walked towards Si Kongling's residence. Buzz, buzz! After passing through a few streets, just as Ningyu was about to reach Si Kongling's residence, the space in front of him suddenly surged, and then an old man appeared. Looking at the old man who suddenly appeared, Ningyu's heart shuddered, because he knew the martial artist in front of him. It was the person who injured the Dark Emperor at the city gates a few days ago, the pinnacle expert behind the third prince, Elder Tan. Back then, Ningyu's cultivation and soul force were both rather low, so he couldn't discover Elder Tan's true cultivation and only knew that he was a Yin-Yang realm martial artist. But now it was different. Ningyu could clearly see that Elder Tan was a Yin-Yang realm peak stage martial artist. "Ningyu, you're too daring. You made His Majesty wait for so long in the Tianyuan restaurant." At first sight of Ningyu, Elder Tan berated, "I can take you down on the spot for the crime of deceiving the Emperor. A few days ago, I had some matters to attend to and left the capital, so I was unable to keep the appointment." With Ningyu's current strength, facing Elder Tan's berating, he was naturally fearless. He said, "I am also very regretful for making His Majesty wait for so long." Her, just a word of regret is enough? Today, you must give His Majesty an explanation, Elder Tan said coldly. Then he unleashed the aura from his entire body and surged towards Ningyu. No need to help. Just as Elder Tan unleashed his aura, Feng Zi took a step forward. Essence energy surged around him, wanting to help Ningyu block this impact. However, Ningyu pressed his palm on Feng Zi's shoulder and said indifferently, "This time it was me who was rude first. Let Elder Tan's aura suppress it for a while as an apology." "Ningyu, I have to say that you're very arrogant." Chapter 435. A bet with Old Tan, so to say. "If I can't withstand your aura pressure, the Emperor will punish me?" Hearing this, Ningyu frowned slightly and hesitated. "That's right." Old Tan nodded and said, "You committed the crime of deceiving the Emperor. If I don't plead for you in front of the Emperor, you will be sentenced to death, even 9 generations of your family." Deceiving the Emperor, 9 generations of my family? Before Ningyu could speak, Feng Zi, who was at the side, said sinisterly, "The imperial family of the Great Xia Kingdom is indeed awesome. They actually dare to implicate the 9 generations of a core disciple of the Danwu College's Sacred Institute. And who are you?" Old Tan's face turned completely gloomy as he berated, "A mere early-stage primal core martial artist. If you dare to interrupt again, I will capture you as well." "Old Tan, don't say any more unnecessary words. I will stand here to resist your aura pressure." "Hurry up! I still have things to do and don't have time to waste with you here." Seeing that Feng Zi was about to get angry, Ningyu took a step forward and stood in front of Old Tan. Old Tan was not like Taizong. He was a peak early-stage yin-yang realm martial artist. With Feng Zi's current strength, he would most likely be defeated by Old Tan. In order to prevent a conflict between Feng Zi and Old Tan, Ningyu immediately agreed to Old Tan. Very good, very arrogant. Old Tan's eyes narrowed as he released 50% of his aura pressure towards Ningyu without restraint. From Old Tan's point of view, Ningyu was only at the late stage of the true martial realm. Once he released all of his aura, it was very likely that Ningyu would suffer heavy injuries. Therefore, he only released 50% of his aura in order to teach Ningyu a lesson and suppress Ningyu's arrogance. The aura pressure of a peak early-stage yin-yang realm faced with the overwhelming aura pressure. Ningyu pushed Feng Zi away. Then the essence in his sea of consciousness surged out, forming a protective essence qi barrier around him. No wonder he's so arrogant. His yuan qi is so strong. Since that's the case, I'll increase the pressure of my aura to 60%. Sensing the berserk essence qi undulations around Ningyu, Elder Ten did not hesitate in the slightest and directly raised his aura suppression to 60%. Chi. In the next moment, Elder Tan's aura collided with the energy barrier in front of Ningyu, and sizzling sounds resounded in the area. 1 minute. With the intensity of Ningyu's essence energy, he can at most last 1 minute. Old Ten crossed his arms in front of his chest as he stared at Ningyu with interest. 1 minute? In my opinion, Ningyu can hold out for at least an hour. Feng Zi snorted coldly. Puchi. Hearing Feng Zi's words, Old Ten could not help but laugh and said, If he can hold out for an hour, I'll write my name upside down. No, I'll twist my head off and let you use it as a chamber pot. Old Ten could be considered to have gone crazy for once. As a peak early-stage yin-yang realm martial artist, he actually made a bet with an early-stage primal core martial artist. Furthermore, the wager was so unbearable. This was the first time in his life. Use your head as a chamber pot for me? Feng Zi pursed his lips and said, I don't have that hobby. How about this? Let's bet something practical. Subsequently, Feng Zi flicked his wrist, and a flying sword appeared in his hand. A mid-grade heaven tier flying sword. The flying sword in Feng Zi's hand had reached the heaven tier. Furthermore, it was a mid-grade heaven tier flying sword. How about we bet a heaven tier flying sword for fun? Feng Zi said as he waved the flying sword in his hand. It's just a mere mid-grade heaven tier flying sword. Do you think I'm afraid of you? With a cold snort, Old Ten flicked his sleeves, and a white flying sword appeared in his hand. A high-grade heaven tier flying sword. The white flying sword that Old Ten took out had reached the high-grade heaven tier. I'll suffer a bit of a loss. I'll use a high-grade heaven tier flying sword to bet with your low-grade heaven tier flying sword. Old Tan said nonchalantly as he waved the white flying sword in his hand. You. Feng Zi's expression was somewhat ugly. Old Ten was clearly looking down on him. But on second thought, it was very worth it to be able to use a middle-grade heaven tier flying sword to win a high-grade heaven tier flying sword. Chi. Right at this time, the Yuan Qi protective shield in front of Ningyu once again erupted with a sizzling sound. It actually became shaky as though it was about to shatter. Ha ha ha, kid. Hand over the middle grade heaven tier flying sword in your hand. You're going to lose. Seeing the situation, Old Ten laughed and extended his palm as he said, Ningyu hasn't lost yet. Don't get cocky too early. Although he said so verbally, Feng Zi began to worry in his heart. With Ningyu's current state, it was very clear that his Yuan Qi was about to be depleted and could not hold on anymore. Feng Zi was very puzzled. He was aware of Ningyu's strength. It was not difficult to withstand 60% of Old Tan's aura suppression. Why was it so strenuous now? Kid, even Ningyu can't withstand 60% of my aura suppression. It can be imagined if I display 100%. What? However, just as old Tan wanted to mock a few words, his expression changed drastically. In the next instant, he unleashed all the aura in his body, crushing towards Ningyu frenziedly. Because just as Ningyu was about to be unable to hold on, large amounts of Yuan Qi gushed out in his sea of consciousness once again. The Yuan Qi protective shield instantly became indestructible. That was also to say that 60% of his aura suppression was already unable to shake the Yuan Qi protective shield around Ningyu. Hence, he could only unleash 100% of his aura suppression, hoping to shatter the Yuan Qi protective shield around Ningyu. Qi, 100% of the aura suppression, surged towards Ningyu frenziedly. In virtually an instant, it squeezed Ningyu's Yuan Qi protective shield until there was not much left. No matter how much Yuan Qi you have, under my 100% aura suppression, it's still F***CK. The corners of old Tan's mouth curled into a hint of an evil smile. He was just about to mock a few words like last time, but his eyes went wide, his face full of stupefaction. He even cursed out loud. Buzz. Ningyu's sea of consciousness was like a bottomless pit. Every time his Yuan Qi was depleted, large amounts of Yuan Qi would inevitably gush out. With the addition of so much Yuan Qi, it caused the Yuan Qi light shield around Ningyu to be abnormally firm. No matter how old Tan suppressed, he could not shatter the Yuan Qi protective shield. In a blink of an eye, half an hour passed. The current old Tan was covered in sweat and had long lost the high-spirited spirit from back then. 50 minutes passed. Old Tan unleashed his aura like a maniac, attempting to impact the protective shield in front of Ningyu once again. 1 hour. In a blink of an eye, an hour passed. Bean-sized beads of sweat appeared on old Tan's forehead, his face revealing a look of disappointment. Old man, an hour is up. Can you give me the white flying sword in your hand now? The moment the time was up, Fengzi shouted, not leaving any face for old Tan at all. Can I renege on a debt? With a low cry, old Tan flicked his wrist, directly throwing the white flying sword in his hand at Fengzi. Pa! Fengzi was long prepared. The instant the white flying sword flew out, his figure flashed and caught it firmly in his hand. Chapter 436. Invitation, brat. I'll leave my high-grade heaven-tier flying sword with you for now. If there's a chance, I'll win it back. Old Tan said coldly, clearly brooding over losing a high-grade heaven-tier flying sword. Although Old Tan was an initial stage yin-yang realm martial artist, a high-grade heaven-tier flying sword was also considered a very precious magic treasure in his hands. One had to know that ordinary yin-yang realm martial artists mostly used middle-grade heaven-tier magic treasures. I'm looking forward to the next bet with you. Fengzi was clearly not afraid of Old Tan. Come to Sikongling's house. Withstanding Old Tan's oppressive aura, Ningyu did not hesitate in the slightest and took the lead to walk toward Sikongling's residence. If not for Old Tan stopping him, Ningyu would have reached Sikongling's house an hour ago and might have already seen Lu Wei and the rest. After wasting an hour here, Ningyu felt somewhat displeased in his heart. Swish! However, just as Ningyu moved his feet, Old Tan's figure flashed and blocked in front of him. Ningyu, actually, I came here this time mainly to represent His Majesty to invite you to Tianyuan Tower. Old Tan said in a deep voice. You weren't in the capital the last time. There shouldn't be any problems this time, right? Inviting me to Tianyuan Tower again? Ningyu frowned slightly, and his expression turned somewhat ugly. An invitation must look like an invitation. With Old Tan's invitation method, forget about him not wanting to go in the first place. Even if he wanted to go in the first place, he would definitely not go now. Without a doubt, Ningyu shook his head and said indifferently, not today. I still have something to do today. Another day. As his voice fell, Ningyu bypassed Old Tan and walked forward. Her, Ningyu, you don't have to go, but I have to remind you of one thing. This time, Elder Tan did not continue to stop Ningyu. Instead, he said with a faint smile, His Majesty has already prepared a banquet in the Tianyuan restaurant. There are many people you are familiar with there. The first prince, the third prince, and the sixth prince are among them. Furthermore, there's also the Zhang family's peerless genius Zhang Tianwen, the Alchemy Guild's peerless genius Rin Xiangtian, the Black Market's young master Xikong Ling, the Xiao family Xiaoyu, the Snow Domain Pavilion's Lu Wei. Initially, when Ningyu heard Old Tan's words, he didn't think much of it and continued to move forward. However, when he heard the last part, Ningyu's expression finally changed, and his footsteps gradually came to a halt. If I remember correctly, the Tianyuan Tower belongs to the sixth prince, Ouyang Yuan, Ningyu said in a deep voice. What is the emperor's intention in setting the banquet there? I'm only responsible for passing the message. I don't know anything else. Seeing that he had piqued Ningyu's interest, Old Tan smiled and said, I have already passed on the message. As for whether you will go or not, that is not something I can control. We will meet again. Buzz, buzz. The instant the word met fell. Old Tan tore the void and immediately disappeared. After Old Tan disappeared, Ningyu's expression turned completely gloomy, and his entire body even emitted a smear of killing intent. Swish! Sensing the killing intent from Ningyu's body, Feng Zi's heart shuddered, and he couldn't help but take a few steps back. Ningyu, the Tianyuan Tower, are we going? After a while, when the killing intent from Ningyu's body dissipated, Feng Zi asked hesitantly, Go. Xikong Ling and Lu Wei are at the Tianyuan Tower. Even if I have to go through a mountain of daggers or a sea of flames, I still have to make a trip, Ningyu said coldly. There's no time to lose. Shall we depart now? Feng Zi might not be a citizen of the Great Xia Kingdom, but he more or less had some understanding of the Great Xia Kingdom's capital. At the very least, he knew that the Tianyuan Tower was a business under the sixth prince. In Feng Zi's opinion, it wasn't the emperor who invited Ningyu today. It was highly possible that it was a scheme of the sixth prince to rope in Ningyu. After all, the contest for the position of crown prince had already reached a critical juncture. Whichever prince could win over Ning, you would occupy an advantageous position in the contest for the position of crown prince. Don't get involved in this matter. I'll go by myself. Ningyu knew that the trip to the Tianyuan Tower was destined to be fraught with grim possibilities, and there was no need to drag Feng Zi into it. After all, Feng Zi was still burdened with a blood feud. If something happened to him in the Tianyuan Tower, he would feel guilty. Ningyu, you're treating me like an outsider by saying that. Feng Zi was obviously unhappy, and his expression was somewhat gloomy. If it wasn't for you, I might have already died in the hands of the Tai sect. So no matter what, you have to bring me along on this trip to the Tianyuan Tower. Even if you don't bring me along, I'll still go to the Tianyuan Tower. Wouldn't it be the same then? Hearing Feng Zi's words, Ningyu fell into deep thought. A minute later, Ningyu said solemnly, I can let you go, but you have to listen to me for everything. Remember not to act impulsively. No problem. Feng Zi patted his chest and guaranteed. Let's go to the Tianyuan Tower. Since he had decided to go to the Tianyuan Tower, Ningyu immediately turned around and sprinted in the direction of the Tianyuan Tower. The Tianyuan Tower corresponded to Xikong Ling's residence and was not too far away. Before long, Ningyu and Feng Zi appeared in front of a luxurious loft. This is the Tianyuan Tower. Looking at the luxurious loft in front of him, Feng Zi muttered, as expected of one of the iconic buildings of the Great Xia Kingdom. It is indeed high-end and classy. Even in the Lanqing Kingdom's capital, this building can be considered a top-notch building. Ning, you didn't pay attention to how luxurious the Tianyuan Tower was. He only had one thought right now, and that was to quickly enter the Tianyuan Tower and find Lu Wei, Sikongling and Xiaoyu. At first, Ningyu suspected that Elder Tan was lying to him, but the moment he stood in front of the Tianyuan Tower, he knew that Elder Tan wasn't lying to him, because inside the Tianyuan Tower, Ningyu felt a trace of an extremely familiar scent. That scent originated from the unique scent of a creation realm expert. Also, there was a trace of soul spirit force that he left on Lu Wei's body. Back then, in order to ensure Lu Wei's safety, Ningyu quietly left a trace of soul spirit force on her body. Right now, he could determine that Lu Wei was inside the Tianyuan Tower. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu tried his best to calm himself down and walked towards the Tianyuan Tower with large strides. Please wait and show me your invitation. However, just as Ningyu stepped into the Tianyuan Tower, a servant blocked his way. Invitation? What invitation? Ningyu was slightly taken aback as he asked curiously. Haha, the Tianyuan Tower is a place of honor. Warriors without an invitation are not allowed to enter. The servant grinned. Although the servant's smile was a little bright, Ningyu still felt that there was a dagger hidden in his smile, and it was very unreal. Furthermore, Ningyu also realized that this servant was different from the other servants in front of the restaurant. His cultivation had reached the shocking pinnacle of the primal core stage. In fact, he was only a step away from advancing to the Inyang stage. Using a pinnacle of the primal core stage warrior as a gatekeeper, even the palace wouldn't have the guts to do so, right? Frowning, Ningyu said in a low voice, "Are you sure you want to ask me for an invitation?" Chapter 437. Sparring, he noticed me? Ningyu's gaze caused a few young men by the window on the third floor to change their expressions as they thought the same thing. There were 3 young martial artists in the room. If Ningyu was here, he would have noticed that he was very familiar with 2 of them. The Zhang clan's genius, Zhang Tianwen, the great Xia kingdom's eldest prince. Other than the 2 martial artists that Ningyu was familiar with, there was also a young martial artist with a folding fan. Eldest prince, this Ningyu is not simple. I can't sense the strength of his soul power. The man with the folding fan frowned and said to the eldest prince, "If I'm not wrong, his soul power is also grade 5. Humph. So what if he has a grade 5 soul power? This time, I will make sure that he will not return." Before the crown prince could say anything, Zhang Tianwen snorted coldly. "Ren Xiangtian, don't flatter others and belittle yourself. No matter what, you're still the peerless genius of the Alchemy Union." "I am just stating the facts." Ren Xiangtian was not angry. "Don't say that I didn't warn you. You are still slightly weaker than Ningyu in terms of soul power. Ever since he was defeated by Ningyu, Zhang Tianwen had been working hard. Not only did he advance to the early primal core stage, but his soul power had also reached the middle stage of grade 5. Zhang Tianwen had been suppressing his anger, wanting to defeat Ningyu in a fair and square manner. This was a great opportunity, and he naturally would not miss it. "Rin Xiangtian, why don't we make a bet?" Zhang Tianwen asked. "Let's hear it," Ren Xiangtian said calmly. "Let's bet on whether Ning, you can enter the Tianyuan building." Zhang Tianwen said proudly, "Of course, Ning Yu will definitely be able to enter the Tianyuan building." Rin Xiangtian shrugged. The peak primal core martial artist in front of the Tianyuan building is probably not a match for Ningyu. "Really?" Raising an eyebrow, Zhang Tianwen said, "If I were to tell you that the martial artist at the peak of the primal core stage outside is the first young master of the black market, how would you feel?" "What?" Even Ren Xiangtian, who thought highly of Ningyu, was shocked when he heard this. The #1 young master of the black market was considered one of the top geniuses in the great Xia kingdom's capital. It could be said that if all the prodigies in the great Xia kingdom were combined, the #1 young lord of the black market would at least be in the top 10. He might even have the chance to be in the top 3. There's no need to damage our friendship for a mere Ningyu. At this moment, the first prince, who had been silent all this time, finally spoke up, acting as a peacemaker. The reason why the number 1 young master of the black market is waiting for Ningyu in front of the Tianyuan Tower is completely because of my father's wishes. Ren Xiangtian frowned slightly as he asked in puzzlement, "That's right. Why did His Majesty gather us at the Heaven Yuan building this time?" "I'm not sure about the specifics." The first prince shook his head and said, "But there's one thing I do know. Not only did His Majesty invite you and me, he also invited many prodigies from the capital. If I remember correctly, no less than 5 of the top 10 prodigies in the entire capital are here." Whoosh! As the first prince and the others were conversing, the peak primal core practitioner at the main entrance of the Tianyuan Tower spread his hands and said, "If you really don't have an invitation, I have no choice but to not let you in. If that's the case, I can only take my leave." With that, Ningyu turned around and left without a moment's delay. Looking at Ningyu's departing figure, the peak primal core practitioner was somewhat dumbfounded. Why did Ningyu not play by the rules? "Well, Ningyu, please wait a moment. Actually, you can enter the Tianyuan Tower without an invitation." Zhou Jianming cursed inwardly. If not for the fact that the emperor had asked him to test Ningyu, he would not have pretended to be a guard boy here. After all, he was the dignified first young master of the black market, and the most likely candidate to become the next master of the black market. "Are you sure there's another way to enter the Tianyuan Tower?" Ningyu stopped in his tracks, turned around, and once again arrived at the entrance of the Tianyuan Tower. "I am very sure. As long as you can withstand 3 blows from me, you can enter the Tianyuan Tower unconditionally." Zhou Jianming said, "Well, may I be so bold as to ask a question?" After a moment's hesitation, Ningyu said, "Can you tell me your true identity?" "That's simple. Withstand 3 blows from me, and I will naturally tell you." Zhou Jianming took a step forward and extended his palm, making an inviting gesture. "You can make the first move. If I make the first move, you might not even be able to withstand a single blow. Ningyu, let me test him and see what he's capable of." Just as Ningyu was about to make his move, Feng Zi, who was beside him, pressed down on his shoulder and said in a low voice, "Previously, you didn't let me attack that old man. This time it should be my turn." In Feng Zi's eyes, although the warrior in front of him was at the peak of the primal core stage, he was not weak. Even withstanding 8 to 10 blows would be very easy, let alone 3. Therefore, Feng Zi wanted to help Ningyu block the attacks from this primal core warrior. Feng Zi was very clear that they had already encountered many obstacles before entering the Tianyuan Tower. Once they entered the Tianyuan Tower, the obstacles would definitely increase. All he could do was to do everything possible to help Ningyu block these attacks and let Ningyu have a good rest so that he could face the next challenge. "Be careful, he's not weak." This time, Ningyu did not stop Feng Zi. Instead, he reminded him, "Try not to compete with him in terms of Yuan Qi. He is at the peak of the primal core stage. If you compete with him in terms of Yuan Qi, you will be the one at a disadvantage." "Understood." Taking a deep breath, Feng Zi took a step forward and said in a low voice, "Let me spar with you." "You?" "I, Zhou Jianming, do not fight with nameless people." "Tell me your name," Zhou Jianming said proudly. "Defeat me, and I will naturally tell you." With a cold look in his eyes, Feng Zi immediately leaped up and punched towards Zhou Jianming's chest with a violent Yuan Qi gust. Whoosh whoosh! Feng Zi's punch was extremely powerful and fast. If an ordinary peak of the primal core stage warrior was hit, they would definitely be severely injured. Bang! But Zhou Jianming was different. He was the first young master of the black market, and his body was abnormally strong. Faced with Feng Zi's powerful attack, he did not dodge. The result was obvious. Feng Zi's fist landed on Zhou Jianming's chest. A crisp sound rang out. Immediately, Feng Zi's figure retreated quickly. On the other hand, Zhou Jiaming stood where he was and did not move an inch. The strength of your body is actually comparable to a yin-yang stage warrior. After the first move, Feng Zi's face completely darkened. He had originally thought that his full strength attack would be able to severely injure Zhou Jiaming. Who would have thought that Zhou Jiaming did not move at all? Instead, he retreated a few steps before stabilizing himself. Chapter 438. Weakness. Who's the martial artist fighting with Zhou Jiaming? Shouldn't it be Ningyu fighting Zhou Jiaming? On the third floor of the Tianyuan Tower, Ren Xiangtian watched the martial artist fighting with Zhou Jiaming from the window. Feng Zi, early primal core stage. He's not weak, the first prince said in a low voice after Ren Xiangtian's words. The first prince would never forget the scene of his battle with Feng Zi in Wutua City. At that time, Feng Zi had inexplicably broken his wind-chasing palm. He had always been brooding over it and wanted to spar with Feng Zi again. If this wasn't the Tianyuan Tower, he would have gone to spar with Feng Zi long ago. First prince, you know him? Ren Xiangtian said hesitantly. Feng Zi and Zhou Jiaming, who's stronger and who's weaker? Although Feng Zi is very strong, Zhou Jiaming is one of the top 10 geniuses in the capital. Feng Zi is definitely not his match. The first prince said indifferently, if I'm not wrong, Zhou Jiaming will defeat Feng Zi in the next move. Swish. At this moment, Zhou Jiaming rose from the ground in front of the main entrance of the Tianyuan Tower and charged at Feng Zi at an astonishing speed. Zhou Jiaming didn't want to waste time and decided to take the initiative in his second move. In his view, Feng Zi was only an early primal core stage martial artist. As long as he used his full strength, Feng Zi would definitely not be able to withstand it. Therefore, he displayed the aura of a peak primal core stage martial artist and frantically pressed towards Feng Zi. Damn it! Cursing inwardly, Feng Zi forcefully endured the pain from his wrist and quickly retreated. As he retreated, Feng Zi poured yuan qi into his fist, wanting to fight Zhou Jiaming head-on. Don't fight him head-on. Only by keeping some distance will you have a chance of winning. Suddenly, Ningyu's voice sounded in Feng Zi's ear, causing him to be slightly taken aback. Haha, it's not good to be distracted while fighting with me. However, while Feng Zi was still in a daze, the corners of Zhou Jiaming's mouth curled up, and he said with a smile, You've lost in the second move, Before Zhou Jiaming finished, his eyebrows twitched as he revealed an expression of disbelief, because he realized that Feng Zi's speed had instantly skyrocketed, and he was actually not slower than him. In other words, even if he chased with all his might, it would be very difficult for him to catch up to Feng Zi in a short period of time. Do you only know how to dodge? Zhou Jiaming said coldly. Since that's the case, I'll let you know my power. Zhou Jiaming was very angry. He only wanted to defeat Feng Zi and then fight with Ningyu. Who would have thought that Feng Zi's speed was so fast, giving him a headache? Therefore, he made up his mind to teach Feng Zi a lesson no matter what. Only then would he be able to resolve the hatred in his heart. Feng Zi, attack Zhou Jiaming's right hand with all your might. That's his weakness. Ningyu's voice, once again, sounded out by Feng Zi's ear. His right hand was once injured, and it still hasn't recovered. As long as you attack his right hand with all your strength, not to mention 3 moves, even 30 moves with him can be easily accomplished. Hearing Ningyu's words, Feng Zi instantly stopped. The next moment, he threw a backhand punch directly at Zhou Jiaming's right hand. What? Initially, Zhou Jiaming was very happy to see Feng Zi stop in his tracks and fight with him. However, when he saw Feng Zi attack his right hand, his expression changed drastically. In the process of going out to hunt demonic beasts, his right hand suffered a heavy injury and was almost broken. If not for the black market paying a huge price to protect his right hand, his strength would have been reduced by at least several times. Even so, his strength had not recovered to its peak state. How on earth did he know that my right hand was injured? Zhou Jiaming was very puzzled. How did Feng Zi know that his right hand was injured? One must know that even in the capital, other than a few higher-ups in the black market, very few people knew that his right hand was injured. Haha, it's not good to be distracted when fighting with me. Feng Zi smiled slightly and returned the same words to Zhou Jiaming. Humph! Do you think you're my match, just like that? Too naive. With a cold snort, Zhou Jiaming and Feng Zi started fighting. As Feng Zi's every attack was aimed at Zhou Jiaming's right hand, Zhou Jiaming did not gain the upper hand for a while. Both parties were evenly matched. Feng Zi's strength seems to have become much stronger all of a sudden. On the third floor of Tianyuan Building, Ren Xiangtian had been paying attention to the fight between Feng Zi and Zhou Jiaming. Feng Zi went from being at a disadvantage to being able to contend with Zhou Jiaming in just a minute. How on earth did Feng Zi achieve a counterattack in a minute's time? It's not that Feng Zi's strength became stronger, but he found Zhou Jiaming's weakness. The eldest prince said with a gloomy expression. As the eldest prince of the great Xia kingdom, his intelligence network was very powerful. In the capital, there were only a handful of people who knew about Zhou Jiaming's injury, and he was one of them. What weakness does Zhou Jiaming have? At this time, Zhang Tianwen, who had been silent all along, asked in confusion, He's the black market's #1 young master, the most advantageous contender for the next black market master. How could he have a fatal weakness? Everyone has a weakness. It's just that outsiders don't know about it. The eldest prince looked meaningfully at Zhang Tianwen and said, I won't tell you Zhou Jiaming's weakness. If you want to know, you can fight him yourself and test him. Being stared at by the eldest prince, Zhang Tianwen's heart tensed up, and he vaguely felt that something was wrong. Could it be that the eldest prince knows about my weakness too? With that thought in mind, Zhang Tianwen said without batting an eyelid, I'll fight Zhou Jiaming sooner or later, but not now because I don't want to take advantage of him. Hee, you're speaking as if you're Zhou Jiaming's opponent. Ren Xiangtian curled his lips and laughed. Zhou Jiaming is the black market's #1 young master. You can only last tens of moves against him at most. Ren Xiangtian, do you want to have a spar with me? Zhang Tianwen was furious and said coldly, Let me see how powerful the Alchemy Union's peerless genius is. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Ren Xiangtian did not flinch and responded coldly as well. Ah! Suddenly, a scream rang out from the entrance of Tianyuan Tower, causing the passers-by to stop in their tracks. Isn't that Ningyu? What is he doing in front of Tianyuan Tower? Why isn't he going in? Maybe he's waiting for someone. Waiting for someone? Hee. Didn't you see that the warrior next to Ningyu is fighting with the peak primal core warrior? What peak primal core warrior? He's the black market's #1 young master, Zhou Jiaming. The black market's #1 young master? He looks like he's in pain and his right hand seems to be injured. The passers-by turned their attention to the main entrance of Tianyuan Tower, or more accurately, to Zhou Jiaming. At this moment, Zhou Jiaming was obviously in great pain. He was squatting on the ground, his left hand clutching his right wrist. Even his forehead was covered in beads of sweat. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.